2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We're gonna get right into the meat of the topic today, because this is coming up undoubtedly in a host of circles and a host of groups, social media pages, even on cable news. We're talking the likes of Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, you name it. And that one question is, as you see, the live stream is indeed titled, is Kamala Harris qualified for the job? Is Kamala Harris, in her current state, qualified to be president of this great nation? Jay Gar, yeah! Thank you for the hat mustache to start the program off right. Appreciate that. Is Kamala Harris qualified for the job? Now, we're going to discuss what she has currently on her resume, but is that enough? Does that make her suitable or even capable to lead this great nation, to maintain that position, literally the highest ranking position probably on the damn planet? Now, we all know that a lot of folks ask the same question about President Trump, but folks would bring up that he was a businessman, had a lot of successful partnerships, etc., etc. But we're talking about Kamala Harris. Is she qualified to be president? So we're going to be discussing that. And in addition to whether or not you believe Kamala Harris is qualified to be president, J.D. Vance, vice presidential nominee by President Trump himself, we're talking about J.D. Vance, for Democrats, seems to be the gift that keeps on giving. First, we know he's stating that women should stay in abusive relationships for the sake of the children. Now he's talking about, essentially women who have no children that are living with cats, having a miserable life, up to and including suggesting that if you have children, you should have more voting power come election day than people who don't, or people who are childless. So in regards to J.D. Vance, is he the right pick for President Trump? Keep in mind, we are asking if Kamala Harris is qualified to be president. I suppose we could ask the same thing about J.D. Vance. What are his qualifications? Keep in mind, Kamala Harris did do 4 years in the Senate, so very similar to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, I believe he only had 2 years in the Senate. And of course, he served 2 terms in the White House. So that is what we're going to be discussing today. Whether Kamala Harris is qualified for the job, and J.D. Vance, is he the right pick for President or former President Trump? As always, the program is and shall forever remain MAGA friendly. You know, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary, including yours truly. You don't have to really be concerned with how folks think about your comments in the comment section, or even when engaging with yours truly. It's all about free speech here. We go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with QAnon. We believe everyone should be allowed to speak. Been that way since day one, always will be. MAGA are always my preferred guest. So looking in the comment section, and DJ Julio, thank you. Appreciate that. Starting it out with that underwater graphic. Thank you, DJ Julio. Democrats against democracy. No one, it just says bought it. No one voted. No one voted Kamala. You know, I'm hearing that over and over again. You notice, there's a hell of a lot of Democratic groups, Democratic PACs. Everybody from the NAACP to progressive groups. You don't hear any Democrats complaining about Kamala being at the top of the ticket. Overwhelmingly, the folks suggesting that promoting Kamala to the top of the ticket are not Democrats. I don't know why that is. We'll talk about it, and I certainly would like to hear your opinion. But the Democrats are, for the most part, circling the wagons behind Kamala. It is non-Democrats that are saying putting Kamala in there is somehow a thwart to democracy. I don't know why that is, but thank you for the hat mustache. I cannot pronounce that. Nicomas or Nicholas. Cannot pronounce that name, but thank you. Going back to the box, or going straight to the box, is Kamala qualified for the job? That's what we're asking. Miami Luxury. Good afternoon, Miami Luxury. If the box brings them up, Mr. Handsome, have you been? What did that say? Damn, it moved. Mr. Handsome, have you seen the list of authors of Project 2025? I was horrified. I haven't seen them all. Golda Namara, no, but I do know there is a host of them that served under President Trump in his administration. I know that President Trump's name is allegedly mentioned in the 900 plus pages of Project 2025 dozens of times. So I do know, because Trump is stating he has no connection to it and does not favor it. Fair enough, but they clearly favor him. Clearly, the authors of Project 2025 are very much pro-Trump. Now, we may have to move the program on because I did click on the box, but apparently my guest is not coming up. So we'll give it a moment to reset. Oh, let me stop typing that your eyes can't focus on the chat. All right, well, you wasted a lot for that. Paul Dams and Russ Vaught bought in Trump's administration. Yeah, they would favor whoever the Republican Party was. There's probably some validity to that. Let me try it again with Old Man Labor. There we go. Good afternoon, old man.
Good afternoon. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. So is Kamala, in your humble opinion, is she qualified for the job?
She is highly qualified, and that's what scares people.
And what makes you say she's highly qualified?
Unfortunately, there's a whole sector of the population that's bigoted, racist, misogynist. They don't want to see a woman in power. They don't want to see a black person in power. They feel threatened by, you understand? They feel like, oh, how could she be president and I can't be president? You understand? Even if they don't have no qualifications, even if they just got a GED or they got they never graduated high school, they feel like, oh, she accomplished more than I did. So
let me ask you this. So let me ask you this, and before I ask you this, I want to respond to somebody on YouTube. AC Alpha Charlie says the way you are posing your question is ridiculous. I'd love for you to clear up how the question should be posed. I've never heard that before. But what I want to ask you, old man, is so you believe in sexism and racism and misogyny. Give me some examples.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton would have been president because she was way more qualified than Donald Trump ever was. She was Secretary of State. Yeah. She was a senator. She was a former first lady. She traveled the world and she dealt with all these powers to be, as opposed to Donald Trump that sat in the ivory tower, telling people what to do. He didn't really have no type of government experience. And you could tell when he was in the government, he wanted people to do things like he was running a private business. Like, you're fired. Wait, hold on. You can't fire me. You're not my boss. You know what I mean?
But how would you respond to folks? How would you respond to folks who might suggest that is exactly what we need is a businessman that demands accountability from people in Washington?
We need somebody that knows what they're doing in Washington. You understand? Yeah. You're gonna go in there bungling around, not knowing how to even pass a law, starting from scratch. It's a high-level game. If you want to start from scratch and work your way up, maybe run for the city council, work your way up, and then learn government and learn how government works and how to negotiate in the government sector, then you're free to do that. I don't mind Donald Trump running running for like something smaller, learning how to run a government entity, and then working his way up. You understand?
Yeah, but Trump was president for 4 years, and many folks suggest that he did a very good job for those 4 years. What did you see, or how did you see the country under Trump's term while he was president? How do you think he ran the country?
He was riding Obama's coattail, pretty much, because Obama left him a good economy. Everything was organized. Everything was good. And Donald Trump had a mess in the White House. Even the people that worked there said it. They won't go back.
Damn. He said they won't go back.
How many secretaries of defense he had? How many chiefs of staff did he have? How much turnover does he have? He doesn't. His vice president doesn't even want to be with him.
Yeah, but old man, any successful business is likely to have a high turnover rate. That doesn't mean the business isn't successful, does it?
That just means it's toxic. It's a toxic environment. A business that has a high turnover rate that can't retain people has a toxic culture. That's why people don't want to stay there. A place that people stay there and are willing to, even take a pay cut to stay there, that's a place that is a good work environment where people get along and people can work together and people respect each other's ideas. People think that that's a normal workplace, that where people are just going at each other's throat and attacking each other and trying to cut each other's throat. That's not a normal work. That shouldn't be a normal workplace. I know that times have changed. People don't last 20, 30 years in a company. Like my grandmother lasted 40-something years in the same company and retired with the same company.
Yeah, but keep in mind, there are a lot of folks that have alleged certain corporations were a toxic place to work, but the corporation was still highly successful. Folks are going to suggest, you can say what you want about the Trump administration, the economy, the job numbers, the price of groceries and inflation. People are going to suggest, despite what was going on in the White House with his administration, the country was favorable to a lot of Americans.
I beg to differ, because anything he accomplished was canceled out with COVID. He destroyed the country, and a lot of people were unalive, and a lot of people were sick, including myself, getting sick 3 times. I'm a frontline worker, and I got sick like at least 3 times, and I had mild symptoms, but I had family members that passed, and he was on TV saying that it was the flu, and it's ridiculous.
So you're blaming President Trump for sicknesses and potentially deaths during the pandemic?
Yeah, because he was briefed on it by the National Security Team and his intelligence agency in October. He didn't do he didn't stop flights from China until February.
Well, but wait a minute. A lot of folks are going to point out. Hold on. A lot of folks are going to point out the reason he didn't stop those flights from China is because the left was referring to him as a racist. So because he wanted to do that in the beginning. Remember the Wuhan and the Wuhan flu or the Kung flu? He was speaking. Hold on. He was speaking critical of China from the very beginning.
The reason why they said he was racist was because the virus had already spread to Europe, but he didn't cancel all flights. He allowed the flights from Europe and other countries to continue. That's why he was called a racist, because he decided, it's going to be, and his language, the way he said it was the China virus over and over.
But is that not? But wait. I get that the China virus can be controversial, but now that we have the ability to Monday morning quarterback and look in hindsight, is it not true that virus originated in China?
But it wasn't the people. You understand? It caused a lot of hate crimes to jump up against minorities and certain groups of people. Hate crimes rose like crazy, to the fact that Congress even passed a hate crime bill, because of it, because the hate crimes jumped up exponentially in the country. So the origins of it, we don't know, but we know that he could have been more of a leader. If they say he's such a strong leader, he's such a militant leader, he would have been militant at that point. So he was more worried about his image and worried about looking good on TV. And then he denied all these things. When Bob Woodward interviewed him, he had it taped and he had it recorded. So he tried to back up and say, Bob Woodward's book was wrong. I never knew about it and I was never briefed. And then they're like, wait, hold on. Bob Woodward is an experienced journalist. He recorded every single, you understand? He recorded every single interview, and he put out the book, and he knew that he had, Bob Woodward was the one that broke the Nixon scandal. He was one of the people that broke the Nixon scandal.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So he had experience dealing with leaders, all types of presidents, and all types of corruption, and they try to stop him from publishing a lot of the stuff he published. The stories.
So let me ask you this as a final. Let me ask you this as a final question. You've had 4 years now of President Biden following up Trump. Do you believe Biden has been a more effective, more efficient leader than Trump?
He whipped Trump's butt.
Wow.
Whipped his butt. Big
How?
time. We can't compare.
Give me some examples. How did Biden whip Trump's butt?
The Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, going against China, going against Russia, NATO, Taiwan, Hong Kong, dealing with all types of world affairs without causing major wars, all right, and or having any troops on the ground.
You're giving Biden credit in terms of world affairs and not having major wars when Trump was in office. We didn't have any major conflicts at all. Are you sure you don't have that backwards?
Wait up. The moves that Trump made left the world unstable. Okay, he allowed Russia to get power, and they were working behind the scenes to get more powerful. He allowed it. They say he was a useful idiot, right? That's what Putin said, and that's what Kim Jong-un said, right? He was a useful idiot. So they were able to get stuff from him that they couldn't get from any U.S. leader ever before, and they bought themselves time. He pulled us out of the Iran deal. The Iran nuclear deal.
He did do that.
That Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize for, because it was a deal they never thought he could actually get, right? And then he moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. So he destabilized the whole United States. He destabilized the Middle East. He destabilized Europe. He destabilized Asia, and he destabilized the United States while we're at it. We were brought to our knees. We almost lost our country because of him and the COVID pandemic. And people got to wake up and realize that you're going to give him another chance. January 6th was ridiculous. Come on.
All right, I can't listen. I'll leave it at that.
If they did that to my house, I'll be upset. But this is the Capitol building, man. Come on. You understand?
Yeah, I would be upset if they did that to my house too. Old man, you don't sound old at all. Great conversation. Come on through anytime.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
I appreciate
I got to assume a lot of you folks believe he had his A game on. My YouTube audience was tearing him to shit, but a lot of you folks were certainly agreeing with him as well. Look it in the comments. Her past is criminal in some cases. I'm assuming you're talking about Kamala. That's the question we're asking, folks. By the way, tap the screen. 500, almost 600 of you in here on TikTok. Get the likes up to about 20,000. Helps out the algorithm, helps out the show, brings in more MAGA. You understand that is the FYP. We are a MAGA-friendly program. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Show some appreciation. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Get the likes up to about 40. We can certainly make that happen on YouTube. The top 3 dots in the upper right of your screen gives you access to the like button. This is an uncensored program. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you are in the right place. Follow the program on TikTok. A subscription on YouTube, if you will. Double Luck. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Double Luck. Kamala is a lawyer that doesn't think illegal immigrants are breaking the law. Damn, that's pretty strong if that's true. That's a pretty strong statement if she is on video saying it, coming in illegally, not claiming asylum. Because coming over and claiming asylum is not illegal. But coming over and, let's say, running across the damn desert, if she's saying that that's not illegal, that's an interesting point you make. But I have not seen her saying or I haven't heard her say anything like that. Try to bring up a guest. We'll try another. The box is really problematic today already. I don't know why. One of my other subscribers, RP, Romeo Papa, she wants to let them come in and give them free health care. I do believe there's some validity to liberals. When they do come here, I do believe the liberals believe that having health care is a human right in a lot of cases. RP, good afternoon.
Tim, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Kamala, is she qualified?
I think this is a heck of a question.
She's running for president.
Yeah, I understand that. But, I mean, we have to put in context her career path, right? Okay. So we understand that she was a prosecutor for the, in the state of California, became the head prosecutor in that state. Then she became a senator, right, for 4 years. So, and then then she becomes vice president.
It sounds like you're leaning towards yes. You can shorten it up. Is she qualified?
Right. But I'm saying this is crazy because we gotta sit here and validate this lady is qualified for presidency, and she's checked off every political box that most others have already. Right?
So why do you, if you're saying she's checked off so many boxes on the path to being qualified, why do you believe there's so many people saying she has no qualifications at all?
Because, listen, in this country, regardless if we acknowledge it or not, we have a nasty underbelly of opinions and thoughts against other people. And the issue is that these thoughts that come across for so many different reasons, whether it be race, or whether it be that she's a female, or whether people just don't plain like her. But there'll always be somebody who has something negative to say about someone else. So this is not a surprise that they're trying to find a way again to just basically disparage her character and the hard work she's put in to reach the spot she's at currently.
Well, let me rephrase it then. I get you gave me her sort of her resume. She was an attorney general. She started out as a district attorney. Then she was a district attorney for San Francisco for some years. She was the attorney general of out there in California, and then she was indeed senator for 4 years. Is she more qualified than President Trump or former President Trump, to make some of you folks happy? Is she more qualified than him? Because that's her competition.
Well, currently, I can't say yes because he's been president, right? So I can't say that she's more qualified. However, historically speaking, that pathway that Kamala has taken is the pathway that most presidents have taken. They've been in politics for a little while. Yep. They've served in the Senate, possibly, and they've done some form of politics there in their career. Trump was brand new to this concept. He hasn't done any of those things as far as being in politics. As far as making that kind of stuff, Senate or whatever. But so my answer, unfortunately, would be yes and no, because again, he's been president already. She's trying to get to that path.
But you point out something. You make an interesting point. How a lot of politicians who become president, they had other lower level jobs. We know Biden started out in Congress, went to Senate, all the way on up. Obama was a senator. Bush was a governor of Texas. Clinton, the governor of Arkansas. That does say a hell of a lot for President Trump, though, that he literally started out at level 1. He's like the guy who started out flying aircraft, and his first aircraft was a fighter jet. Does that make Trump look better to some degree than his predecessors?
I think Trump is really highly underestimated. I think Trump is actually a genius because despite what we may feel about him or say about him, he seems to be winning all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And even if I don't like his politics or what he stands for, I can't deny that he has this aura about him that people just gravitate to. And again, if I agree with it or not, doesn't make a difference. It's reality.
Right.
And so the year he's voted in, that was obvious. And even currently today, it's obvious that people love this man for whatever reason. So I can't deny that his emergence from businessman to president in one fell swoop is something to be amazed by.
Why not give him 4 more years? How was the country ran that poorly under him? Why not give him 4 more?
No, I think we talked about this before. I don't think that Trump did a horrible job. I mean, obviously we had the pandemic, which is pretty much laid in his lap, but I mean, there's some things he might have done that could maybe change the trajectory of it, but I don't think he could have altogether, stopped it from happening. So I don't think it's all fair to put all the blame on him. But I mean, other than the pandemic, I don't think there's anything that people can point to and say, well, policy-wise, this is what he did to, mess the country up and put us in the wrong direction. So
you'd be kind of, even though you don't.
But here's the difference. To answer your question, I'm sorry, I should have been shorter. The issue I have currently is that the way he's speaking now, the way he's moving now is different than his first 4 years, right? Because now he's talking about things that he wants to put in place that's going to basically bring division, not only in our country but other countries as well.
Examples.
So the first example, the biggest one, is to talk about mass deportation. Now, this is not new coming from his lips. He's been talking about this for years, but he's not been able to do it. Now we have a possibility, a likely possibility, if he wins the presidency, and Republicans remain in power in the House and in the Senate, along with his procured Supreme Court, that these things can come to fruition.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. First, you started out with mass deportations. If there are folks in this country that have no legal right to be here, do you have an issue with getting them out of the country?
I don't. But here's the thing, though. So we have to define what illegal is, because there are people that are here undocumented.
What does it mean to you to be an illegal alien or illegal immigrant? What does it mean to you personally?
Mm-hmm. That you just basically come here without trying to apply for asylum or a work visa. And you just come here to escape your country for whatever reason it may be. And so basically, the fear I have is that he's going to try to lump all the people together, regardless of their standing in this country, if they're undocumented, not just illegal, but undocumented, that they might be deported as well.
Okay, let me ask it to you this way. I asked you, what does illegal mean to you in regards to the people that you described? Is it okay to kick them out?
As far as the people with the work visas?
The people that you just described as being ill. I asked you, what is an illegal immigrant to you? The people that you described, is it okay to get them out of the country?
Yeah, I think you have to have some semblance of order. You can't allow chaos to happen like the border as is currently right now. I mean, there's no doubt it's an issue, and we have to address it. So I'm not against deportation as it speaks. I mean, Obama had high numbers of deportation, right? It's not a bad thing in its name of itself. But I'm saying, as far as how it's going to be implemented is my concern. It's not that it's going to happen. This is who's going to be a victim of said mass deportation.
Great. You said that he's promoting divisive stuff, getting folks out that you personally stated that it's okay to get out of. What else has he done? I'm not hearing the divisive stuff yet.
Oh no! I didn't say he's done. I'm saying with if you're talking about Pride 2025, which he
said he don't have nothing to do with that.
I understand. He says it's not his. However, his name is in the document. Multiple numbers of his former cabinet are involved in authoring this document. But also, too, I think if you look closer at that document, as well as what's the other one? 47.
Agenda 47.
Agenda 47. Right. Correct. Thank you. These documents kind of almost similarly mirror each other. With not everything, but some things, because it's 47. Agenda 47 is a little bit smaller. But they kind of mirror each other, right? So it's not too far-fetched to believe that although he's going to denounce it now, currently, because he's running for president, that once he becomes president, that he might not adopt those same philosophies that are in that document, 2025.
All right.
So that's what I'm talking about, divisiveness.
Okay. Fair enough. And a lot of folks agree with you. A lot of folks do believe that Trump is all over Project 2025. So I got to move it on RP. Fair enough. Come on back through anytime.
All right, so have a good one.
You too. Moving the program on, by the way. Oh, look, only Indians left in USA. What the hell does that mean? Ha ha. So you know what these same countries do to Americans that break into their. I mean, how many countries have Americans breaking into them? No, it's got to be pretty low. It means you get better, quicker resources than if your family been here for general. Okay, you guys are having a conversation among yourselves. Tap the screen. Get the likes up to about 30,000. Helps out the FYP. We are MAGA friendly. Liberals are welcome on the program as well. Look at it in the comments. How can you believe Trump's words when you know that all he does is lie? Well, I personally don't believe everything Trump says is the truth, but I'm going to apply that same sentiment to Biden, Obama. Soon we'll find out, likely Kamala. Certainly when they were all saying that Biden was in great health and he was more alert and running circles around all of them, they were lying about that. So while I'm understanding your point, yeah, thank you for the hat and mustache alter ego, appreciate those. I understand your point that Trump has not always been honest, but who has? Who has in Washington? Alter ego, wow. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for all that support, Alter Ego. He pulled the wool over your eyes, says Robert Andres. Possibly. I lived in Mexico. It was great. Nothing wrong with that. Speculation, hearsay, opinions, assumptions, no guarantees are absolute, or none of this political. There's a mouthful. Don't know what it means. I think saying brown people are coming to take black jobs, wow, was also meant to build a wall between our cultures. Twain to square, no denying that the black jobs comment from President Trump was divisive. There's no way to deny that. The African American community overwhelmingly viewed that as suspect, to say the least. I mean, to this day, I still don't know what he meant by a black job. I don't know. So I understand that when Twain to square well said. Going back to the box, Trump loves America, says user 264. A lot of people believe that. Obama had the most deportation numbers by any president by far, but the right would never accept it. I believe that because when Obama was in office, the entire spiel coming from the right was that Obama, like other liberals, were for open borders. They weren't protecting the southern border. And then when Trump took over, he was doing a fantastic job defending the border and protecting the border. And when folks started criticizing him, suggesting that he was deliberately separating families and destroying families, the first response was, well, Obama was doing it too. Which made no sense because the whole time Obama was in office, we were told he was for open borders. Now all of a sudden you do something that's unpopular and your whole outcry is, well, the other guy was doing it too and you wasn't holding him accountable. No, because you were telling us he wasn't doing it at all. So I do understand your point. Trump did a great job on the borders as Red Charm. We could go into some conversation on that. I'm not 100% certain of that. But we'll continue on with Dencal. Good afternoon, Dencal. Is Hillary Clinton qualified? That is where we're at. Dencal's a subscriber. Always certainly give a dibs to my subscribers. But Dencal, is Kamala Harris qualified?
I was trying to figure that out myself, and then I started doing research, and I looked around, and I looked high, and I looked low, and I couldn't find the qualification for president other than age and citizenship.
Good point. That is well said.
Qualifications. What do we mean by qualifications?
Let's just say leadership. I'm going to give you some qualifications that at least I personally feel, but these are probably going to lead to a hell of a lot of division in the comment section because I'm going to say leadership. I'm going to say the ability to unite us all on a single path and do what's right for America, which doesn't say shit really, but that's what I would say are the qualifications.
Exactly. We have now been down the path where at one point in time, I'm not going to say a vast majority because he's always lost the popular vote, but at least enough to convince the Electoral College that Trump, who has really none of those skills, like his whole business life has been like a train wreck of bankruptcies and losing stuff and not being able to and getting it business turned over. So the FEC is investigating them. Yes, he's maintained a fortune, but when you had the kind of money invested in the type of money he inherited from his passing father, anybody can maintain that type of wealth. Once you buy into all of these properties and stuff, and over time they elevate in price, you're gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars on these deals and stuff. That doesn't make you a great business person. A great business person would not have jumped into stuff like Trump steaks and Trump vodka and Trump casinos and just destroyed all of them.
Wow.
So we can say, well, look, he's rich. He's got to be smart business wise. No, you don't. If he would have took that money that he inherited from his dad and put it into a S&P 500 fund, and just let it sit there, he'd probably be worth over $10-15 billion right now. Damn. But he didn't. He took it and he squandered the money away. And now that he's sitting at a point where he has to ask bail bondsmen to get him out, and people are still running around saying how successful he is, it's amazing to me. But just to get back to your point, qualifications are what people think they are. Just saying, we need a businessman. What does that mean?
Well, a business in a capitalist country, having somebody that is a successful businessman in a capitalist market is what they're talking about. We are all about capitalism in America, and who knows capitalism more than a successful business conglomerate?
Right, but you keep on saying successful. What are the wickets we need to hit to consider somebody successful? Just because they got a lot of money doesn't mean that they're a successful business person. It just means they've been able to maintain a certain portion of that wealth that was given to them.
So you sound as though you believe overall Trump has kind of been either neutral or a failed businessman.
Of course he has. I mean, all of his stuff while he was going through COVID and all of that stuff, all of his businesses were service industry. Nobody was going to. He lost hundreds of millions of dollars during that time, but guess how he made it up? By getting it from the United States government.
Wow.
He wasn't making tons of money. His whole apparatus, everything he stood by, his patents with China, all of that stuff was on standstill. He was making zero money.
I don't know. I think that so much that orbits around Trump is cloudy. I don't know if I feel confident just accepting what you say, but I don't necessarily say what you're saying is false either. Because we know Trump came on the scene saying he's worth $15 billion. I think it's pretty clear that was not true, but we don't really know what he was worth.
Well, we know it's probably closer to $1 billion, with the caveat that most of his properties are leveraged to the hilt. Yeah. That's not estimation. That's not me. You can look. All of his properties have leverages on them. All of them. Because that's what real estate people did. That's what they do. They leverage their properties to get more properties. But now he's at the point where he's struggling between living off of campaign funding and, people paying for his lawyers and him trying to sell one of his properties so he can pay off the other property loan and try to stay afloat. He's not a great businessman. I don't care what nobody says, because he walks around and he exudes this successful person. When he lost those casinos, his whole business was taken over by his debtors. And they gave him an allowance, and they got back their money, and then they gave him his business back. He's not a great businessman. But we keep automatically just saying, yeah, well, we need a businessman in office, and then we keep adding successful on the top of it as if it's like we know he barely paid taxes. couple of years, he paid $750 in taxes. Come on.
Well, I'm going to say, anytime you see a man flying around in his own damn jet and skyscrapers have his name on it, it's hard to believe that he is unsuccessful. I'm just telling you, the man got international businesses, golf courses, and things like that all over the world. In fact, he was on course to build the tallest skyscraper in Russia before he became president. It's hard to look at somebody like that and say he is not successful.
Well, if successful is the image. You and me are around the same age.
Somebody said the jet is old. Keep going.
You remember a commercial years ago when they had a guy in front of his big suburban house, and he had his lawn. He was on his riding lawnmower, and the people were driving by looking at him, and they were like, "Wow, look at him! He's living the American dream." And they asked him, "Well, how do you do that?" He said, "Because I'm leveraged up to my eyeballs."
Yeah, I have seen that. And so what you're saying then is that Trump was simply putting on a facade.
He is. Like, if you had $2 billion and they came to him about his bond in the E. Jean Carroll case, like he had to get them to pay $150,000 bond. His money is not liquid. His money is not liquid. It's all involved in leveraging. And I mean, that's fine because that's what people, in the real estate market do. But to say that he somehow should be able to come in and run the country like his businesses, which most all of them have failed, is like, I don't even understand.
Then if he's so bad as a businessman, why are there so many Americans stating that they were doing way better financially when Trump was in office compared to Biden?
Because inflation was lower. But inflation had nothing to do with him. The inflation was normal, and it was averaging around 2%. Way back when Obama was the president, it was nothing his policies did that made it that way. But people's perception in saying that I had more money back then is misguided. You didn't. You were able to purchase maybe more because your dollar went a little further. But you didn't have more money. If you had more money 6 or 8 years ago, you doing something wrong.
Yeah. So let me ask you before I move it on. Last question, because folks are suggesting that you sound like somebody with Trump derangement syndrome. I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't believe that, but I want to ask you this: if the economy and all of this stuff was so, do you see Biden as better for the economy than Trump?
I think their situations were vastly different. I think his task of the recovery from COVID was so intricate and difficult that he did good on certain ends, but the fact is the economy is doing the best out of all first world countries, all of them. So I don't know what do we have to compare it to. It would be different if our economy was like down in the dumps and then, all of the other first world countries were doing great. Then I would say, well, maybe we did something wrong. But if ours is on the top of the pile over everybody, and everybody's complaint is essentially inflation, which by this point has nothing to do with the president, it has to do with corporate greed and a whole lot of other things, then what do we judge him? What do we say he went wrong at? We can say he spent too much money.
Yeah.
All right. Remember during Obama's recovery, they said he didn't spend enough money, so that's why the recovery took so long. Now we're saying Biden spent too much money. So it's just how you view the recovery. But I tell you what, if I look at, I'm retired now, but if I look at my stocks and my bonds and my cryptocurrency and everything, I'm humming right now.
All right. Well, me personally, I'm doing better under the Biden years and Trump years as well, but a lot of folks say just the opposite. Then, Cal, I do got to move it on. I know a lot of folks favorite your conversation. Appreciate it.
When they say they did better back then, all they got to do is drive around their neighborhoods, drive around, see people doing things, luxury things. The airports are jam-packed. Yeah. The rental car places don't even have enough cars. I mean, people are making and spending money hand over foot. At the same time, they're trying to convince us that we're in some type of depression. So, I mean, they can go out and look at the world and see how the country is doing by sitting there saying it was better back then.
Well said, didn't count. Thanks for coming through. And by the way, what he is saying is exactly what the financial analysts are saying, is that even discretionary spending in America is at an all-time high. On Memorial Day, back in May, most traveled holiday I believe they said in history. And the second was coming home after that holiday. So, I mean, we've seen Super Bowls and big sporting events. They're not sold out. I mean, they're not empty. They're sold out. I mean, hell, even the WNBA is now selling out games. So, I got to suggest or say that he is kind of correct that Americans seem to be spending a hell of a lot of money despite the notion that we're dealing with one of the worst economies ever that Trump and Trump supporters are saying. I mean, people do seem to be spending. Even with the higher cost of interest rates on loans and things like that, people are still buying shit. It's not like you go to a restaurant and there's nobody in there, or you go to a ball game and you can get a front, you can sit right there on the field because there's nobody there. Yeah, this stuff is still packed. People are still going to see this stuff. Looking in the comments though, I can't pronounce it. In the sense of credit card debt or something. You think the entire country is just living off credit cards? Maybe, but I'm telling you, America is spending. America is spending. If they're all doing it on credit cards, so be it. That may be how you're viewing it, but they are spending. I live in Canada and things work around what the USA does, says David. Yeah, when I was in Australia, it's the same way. Most of our allies take the lead of the United States. So that would make it clear the, let's say, cognitive abilities with Biden, or maybe the temperament with President Trump. All that's going to make a big difference to our allies because they do generally take the lead of the United States. I'll say this, one point in particular, with President Trump continuing to be fairly friendly to a lot of leaders that we normally viewed as enemies, that has got to be shaking up our allies substantially. Because we have, in this country, we've been hating Russia since the end of World War II. How many of you seen Rocky IV back in 1989? Or, how you cheered on Drago getting his ass kicked? I mean, we've been against Russia 50, 60 years. All of a sudden, one guy comes in and, no, this is a decent dude, and it's not really based on anything. So I got to say that Trump probably is a bit concerning to some of our allies because he is, and it's not just Putin, by the way. Trump is friendly to the likes of Kim Jong-un and others. So it's like, why all of a sudden is he being friendly to people that we've all collectively, view as an adversary? And this guy comes in with no reason in particular. I just want to reach out and be friendly to him. So we'll look in the comments though. Bro, that you just called Trump light skinned. Where did you hear that from? You listened to a different line. Y'all really need to do yourself a solid and watch Trump, not the fake news. Wake up and give yourself some flipping value, for God's sake. And that's coming from Christy. Why does everybody believe that everyone that's critical of Trump is being brainwashed or, tricked by the media? It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on, whether you're on the right or whether you're on the left. There are reasons to not like every damn candidate. Trump is not so perfect, and neither is Biden, Kamala, Obama, you name it. Nobody is so damn perfect. There is no reason at all to be critical of them. It got nothing to do with the media. Maybe somebody believes that a woman should have a right to choose, or they favor common sense gun laws, or they favor, something here or there. And it ain't always got nothing to do with the media. I don't understand why everybody suggests that if you don't like Trump, it's because the media told you not to. Maybe Trump is in favor of something that you're not, or that something that affects your life. It ain't always got nothing to do with the media. Looking in the comments. And Chrissy says because you don't watch him and it's clear. Yeah, to me that's insane. I mean, if you live in Miami and you believe that a woman should have a right to choose, and now thanks to Trump and his Supreme Court appointments, you got to travel 1,000 miles or more, that's not a legitimate reason to no longer favor Trump? It got nothing to do with the media. I mean, he's made some fairly significant changes to the country that some people like and some people hate. The media ain't got nothing to do with it. I mean, the guy ain't perfect. I mean, that literally is saying that Trump is perfect, that there is no reason to be critical of him unless the media has brainwashed you. Wow. Going back to the box, and appreciate you folks tapping the screen. Get the likes up to about 50,000. We can certainly make that happen. Texas. Good afternoon, Texas. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
Hey, not bad at all. Talk about Kamala. Is she qualified for the job?
I'm going to have to say she's qualified. I mean, she's got her experience there, but what a lot of people don't talk about is she up for the job? She has the lowest approval ratings. NBC's poll had her at net 17 a month ago, a negative 17. So ABC a month ago had her at a 32 approval rating. So what's the change?
Let me just...
As a vice president, and now she, as a president, is more favorable. She's Joe 2.0.
Let me say a couple of things. First of all, I'll tell you this in regards to her low approval rating. When Trump came on the scene in 2015, his approval ratings at that time, him and Hillary Clinton, were historically low. So if we only went by approval ratings, Trump wouldn't be in there either. But I also will say, because you said what changed, her going from vice president to going from president, why is her numbers changing all of a sudden? Because of her adversary. Because a lot of folks are downright scared of President Trump. So she is the beneficiary. Just like Biden, you had a hell of a lot of people saying, I don't really like Biden. I'd rather somebody else be in there. He's too old. But if it comes down to voting for an aging Biden versus Trump, I'm going to pick Biden. So her favorable numbers have a lot to do with the fact that her adversary is Trump.
Well, and you like to compare her numbers as a vice president to Trump and Hillary as primary candidates. I mean, I didn't even talk about her in the primary. She was abysmal in the primary. She dropped out, December 2019. Yeah. She couldn't raise money. She got obliterated.
She wasn't running against Trump, though, Texas. Running against Trump is why she is doing so well.
She was trying to earn votes from the people now that are praising her. So if she wasn't good enough then, what has she done to make herself good enough now? Is my question. If you want to throw it out there, she hasn't done anything better. She stood behind a man who was failing in age and cognitive decline and didn't say anything, didn't step in, didn't take a leadership role. So show me where she's done so great that she should be the next president. Yeah. She hasn't.
No, and I'm not trying to say she has. What you're overlooking is the fact that Trump is now her adversary. When she got a very low, when she did very poorly when she ran last time, as you're pointing out, she's running against Biden and a bunch of other liberals. Now she's running against Trump. It's a big, big difference.
Yeah, and people are voting for her just because she's not Trump. Vote blue no matter who, right?
Yeah.
That's the motto. And that's the hypocrisy that the left tends to throw at people. It's like, oh, we want democracy, but we'll throw it out the window just so we don't get Trump.
Wait. You're actually criticizing vote blue no matter who as if anybody but Clinton was not a real slogan?
If anybody was Clinton, what?
No, you never heard of the phrase ABC, anybody but Clinton? When Hillary Clinton was running, that's the same thing as vote blue no matter who.
No, I didn't hear that one.
Okay.
You must not have made it down here.
It was floating around big time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and look, there's going to be slogans out there. I get that. But I'm just saying you can't sit there and just pick the next best thing just because they're younger. They're more, I just don't understand it, I guess, is really what it is for me. Because she's been in this cabinet. She's been in this administration. So what is it? There's nothing different as to what's going to happen policy-wise. If you wanted to change, and you want to hold someone responsible for, the decline of our democracy. It would be the person who was behind the scenes, supporting our president who is declining cognitively, that gets, pressured from outside sources and the fundraisers of his party to step aside before they ever step up and do anything.
So what are you suggesting, considering how you're painting Kamala as somebody who has not been effective at really doing anything? What do you suggest the liberals do if they want to get rid of Trump?
Say you vote third party. You heard me say that before.
And do you believe if the liberals voted third party, that they would have a realistic chance of getting rid of Trump?
I mean, yeah, if they have a realistic chance of voting for Kamala to get rid of Trump, why would it matter? Vote blue no matter who, right? So vote anybody but Trump is going to win then. Why does it change if you go from Democratic Party to, independent? I don't understand.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's a host of reasons. First of all, the money that has been given to the Biden-Harris campaign cannot just be transferred to somebody else you started voting for. That goes against campaign finance laws. So that's going to make a huge difference. You only got 3 months left. You don't have time to do all of that stuff.
I mean, how much money did Kamala raise in a day? I don't understand how we don't have time. If everyone starts voting for someone that's actually going to put values there and isn't just I'm not going to say, Kamala's just an easy replacement. I'm not saying she's not qualified to do the job, but she's obviously been chosen to not be the leader by the Democratic voters before. No one liked her before. She fell out. Then
why are they donating? If nobody liked her, why the hell are they donating so much money to her? Because you're right in regards to saying nobody picked her. Everybody picked Biden, and they stopped giving him money. You're saying they didn't pick Kamala, but she's getting all this small donor money. It's not like some billionaire is trying to just promote her to the top. You got regular voters. So you got to assume if regular small donors are willing to give her all of this money, even if they had a primary, it's pretty obvious they would pick her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the part I'm not able to follow. I don't understand why they're all of a sudden accepting of her so much, and why all of a sudden now, if I don't vote for her, I'm racist, I'm bigoted, I'm misogynistic. I mean, a lot of people I hear, don't say DEI hire, but then I get called a racist if I don't vote for her. So tell me how that works.
Well, I'm not going to talk about you specifically, Texas, but you do realize a lot of people on the right are posting pictures of her with cum coming out of her mouth and knee pads, so on. They are doing that stuff. I mean, it's very easy to find a meme of Kamala Harris wearing knee pads, suggesting that she's a hoe, even pictures with literal cum coming out of her mouth. It's pretty easy to find that stuff on right-wing circles. So when folks say that some of this stuff is sexist or whatever it's clearly all over right-wing media.
I don't think it's all over right-wing media.
Really?
Yeah, I do understand that people are. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be people on both sides of the aisle that are going to sling mud and go to extremes with it. I mean, it's just like I'm seeing people now talking about how Trump wasn't hit with a bullet, so it's not that big of a deal. How is it not a big of a deal anymore? There was still an assassination attempt on his life. So it doesn't.
Well, but wait a minute. In regards to Trump, in regards to people that are showing Trump no sympathy, you got to understand what he did to Nancy Pelosi's husband is going to have some outcry, right?
I mean, that's fine, but don't downplay the situation just because of what he said before. It's still a fact of matter that someone tried to assassinate a former president who's a candidate. Don't sit here and be like, oh well, he's lying about getting hit just like he lies about everything else.
No, but did he not do the exact same thing you're saying don't do to him? Did he not do that exact same thing to Nancy Pelosi's husband? He downplayed the leader of Congress' husband having an assassination attempt. He did the same thing.
Well, I think a lot of people put into question what had all happened. I mean, the guys, I'm not saying that the severity of it wasn't there, but, you call the cops, you're kind of, complacent, you're kind of calm. If someone's coming at me with a hammer, I'm getting out of the house. You know what I mean?
He got hit in the head with a hammer in front of police. What are you getting at?
I'm just saying he stayed there with the guy until the police got there. It's kind of weird.
Okay, but where's the part of this where it's okay for Trump to make comedy about it?
I'm not saying it's okay with it.
All right, but you're saying it's wrong to say this stuff about Trump, but you're admitting that he was wrong.
I'm not saying it's wrong to. You're trying to like take my stuff.
The floor is yours. Clear it up for me.
The whole point was, okay. Let me backtrack because you're like spinning this into something that's
you're losing me. Clear it up.
I gotta try to find my original point. Was your argument was people are making these memes about her. My whole point is people are gonna sling mud, on both sides of the aisle. They're gonna sling mud. Okay, so you can't just paint a broad brush over a whole group. Well, this is everybody on the right thinks this way. That's what's going wrong with everything now.
You mean like suggesting that Trump? Wait a minute, you said you can't paint a broad brush or say everybody's like that. You mean like all of the folks that suggest every liberal that comes on the program that is critical of Trump is brainwashed by the media? Is that not a broad brush?
Yeah, I'm not saying, Tim, I'm not saying both sides don't do this. I'm agreeing with you.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so, because I'm in the center. I know you try to claim that, but you are far from the center, my friend. Okay. You're more left than you are center. So I can sit here and show
the program is called The Handsome Liberal. I think we know I lean left somewhat.
I'd say more than somewhat. That's what I'm saying. All I heard you say I'm center, but I lean left. No, you're left, and that's okay. It's okay to be on one side, and it's okay for someone else to be on another side. That's the whole message I try to send to people. And when you paint a broad brush on one whole side, what does that do? That creates division too. Right. And so people want to blame Trump for division when the left can do it too. Both sides are slinging mud. Look at what's mud and look at what's real, and quit trying to say, oh, well, y'all are all this way if you vote for Trump, or you're this way if you vote for Kamala. It's not the way it should be. That's not the way we need to move going forward. Do
you think if you say that's not the way it should be, or the way you're saying that we need to get away from this going forward? If we re-elect Trump, do you think we'll get away from this?
No, that's why I'm not voting for Trump.
Oh. All right, I'll leave it at that. All right, Texas, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you pointing out my politics. No big deal. Come on back anytime, Texas.
All right, thanks, Tim.
All right, appreciate it. And when we say we go left of Bernie Sanders to we having dinner with Q, and we do believe in free speech, folks. You don't have to agree with the host. You can be certainly critical of the host or anyone in the comments section. That's how free speech is. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 60,000. Almost 900 of you in there. We can certainly do that if you let your thumbs not be lazy. The same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Get the likes up to about 90. We can do that if you will. Wow. Now my last caller, Texas, in the comments pool said that my last caller has Trump derangement syndrome. That's a first. Wow. It's going to be Donald Trump 100%. Susan Welch, that could happen. We'll see where the polls continue stating, but you're saying it's going to be Trump in November 100%. And by the way, shout out to my female Republicans. What do I always say? Everybody thinks the liberals are going to get all the women, but there are plenty of female Republicans and female MAGA out there. So shout out to my female Republicans. Kathleen on TikTok, thank you for the subscription. I do appreciate the support for the program. Thank you, Kathleen. Going back to the box, we will continue on with, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Wow, and I do appreciate you folks holding on. We'll go to Ryan, friend of the program. Good afternoon, Ryan. Is Kamala Harris qualified for the job, Ryan? What say you?
Oh, my God. Yeah, she's qualified. I mean, her resume speaks for itself. Comparing it to Trump. I mean, for the last guy who was saying, what has she done? I would say, what did Trump do before he was elected? And what did he do while he was in office? The right has not passed any meaningful legislation in over 20 years, other than give more money to the rich. All they've done is take shit away. Sorry, excuse my French.
Don't worry about it.
there has been no policy, and there has been no willingness to even work with the other side to even create policy. If you can even track what has been put forward by certain legislators, and you can look at all the people that are at the top end of the Republican Party. None of them are actually creating new policy to help the average American. They're not. All they're concerned with is investigating Hunter Biden and investigating Joe Biden.
Well, okay, maybe you don't.
They're finding a way to take away women's rights, and they're not doing anything to actually put food on our table and money in our pockets.
Well, maybe it's a case of you not agreeing with their policies, but they've put policies for, like for instance, rolling back the alternative energy vehicles, the e-vehicle mandate. A lot of folks in America believe that would be beneficial to them, not forcing Americans to purchase high cost electric vehicles when the infrastructure is not there. I mean, that's a policy. Go ahead.
If you look at that, Tim, that's actually not something that was put forth because there was no mandate to force anyone to purchase said vehicles. What they're doing is making it a mandate to manufacture more of these cars so they are available.
I gotta push back on that. For instance, I know, because I do rideshare videos. I know there's a few markets that have mandated. I think New York, for instance, that mayor out there stated by, I think 2030 or something like that, all rideshare vehicles have to be electric. Now, the rideshare drivers are using their own money to buy those things.
That's not forcing the American to purchase it. What it's doing is it's putting it. The government is spending that money, and that's wise money.
What do you mean is that? Wait a minute, hold on.
Fossil fuel.
The rideshare drivers, those are their cars. So they're using their car to make a living, and now you're forcing them to have to go out and buy an e-vehicle. It is forcing them.
I thought we were talking about a different rideshare. I thought you were talking about government vehicles.
No, we're talking about like Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that one. So okay. That one I have to look into that. But I know that the only mandates that I've heard that are in place are for the government vehicles.
I think California also has a law that in that state, by a certain year, everybody's going to have an e-vehicle. These laws are more in depth than you realize there, Ryan.
Well, and if they are, Tim, I'm a man of science. I've got a Bachelor of Science degree in the environmental sciences. At that, I do groundwater studies specifically. But fossil fuels aren't clean, and renewable energy is the future. And it's not just something that is a money grab. It's just there are finite resources here, and we are burning through our resources at a rapid clip, and fossil fuels aren't clean.
I'm not arguing with any of that.
Overwhelming evidence to support that these fossil fuels are have a negative impact on our environment.
I'm not arguing with any of that. What I'm saying is that if a person is barely getting by and you're passing these laws to force them to do things that are cleaner for the environment, you could put them at financial detriment. Before you respond, before you respond, Mirren, thank you for the super chat. Mirren says, Tim, you promote allowing both sides to speak and share their views. Thank you. Right now, you support Trump for 2024. But, well, hey, people see me on both sides. Unlike what my last caller said. Right now, you support Trump for 2024. But would you consider supporting Vice President Harris if she ran on a unity ticket with a Republican VP running mate? Wow.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what to do with that. Thank you for the appreciation, Mirren, but I don't know if that's quite accurate. Go ahead, Ryan. That's not really accurate, Mirren. Wow.
My goodness. I hear what you're saying, but if you use the logic of like a ride share, is your job is using a vehicle to get around, and if we are going to use the logic that yes, fossil fuels are bad for the environment and renewable energy is the future, that makes sense. And if that is your profession, in all due respect, there are millions of jobs that you could choose. You can just choose another profession. So I do get your point, and there is a point. That's a valid point, but what's more important, that job when there are many other jobs, or the future of the environment for our children and grandchildren and future generations? Because there's overwhelming evidence to support the fact that fossil fuels aren't clean. Renewable energy is the wave of the future. And if we don't get on board, we're going to get left in the dust by these other countries that are pushing these policies.
No disagreement there. You just mentioned what policies of President Trump passed that would benefit people. And I'm saying that, yeah, you're correct. I want a cleaner environment. But at the same time, you're talking about winning a war. On the short term, though, it could hurt people as we pursue alternative energies and fuels. You could hurt people.
Yeah, I hear that, and that's a legitimate point. But it's kind of one of those things where there's virtually zero policy that has no flaws to it, or no negative impact somewhere somehow, right? But you fight for what the greater good. Like, okay, I do this thing, and 90% is going to be positive impact. But yeah, there will be some. It's just how life is, So you just take the good with the bad. The bad is, someone who drives a car is forced to do this or find another line of work. That's not.
Now there are other policies. There are other policies that, because you say Trump has no policies, there are other policies they're pursuing. Even you would not agree with them. I may not agree with them as well, but some folks do favor them, such as removing things like LGBT issues from schools. Putting the Bible in schools. I'm not saying I agree with any of this stuff, but there are plenty of Americans that do.
Yeah, those aren't what most people care about, and that's what kills me. Is the right argues about gas prices and inflation and wages and all these things. That's what most people care about in policy, and that's what we lose sight of. Is who honestly cares if there's a book on the shelf about an LGBTQ topic in a school. I want to know how much my groceries are going to be. I want to know what I'm going to have to pay at the pump. I want to know if I'm going to be able to afford to send my kids to school, to college. I want to know if I'm going to be able to, survive if I get cancer, if I can't find health care. If I don't have health insurance. These are things that really actually matter. But we're making stink over stuff like drag queens reading a book to a group of kids or something. Like that's the thing that's going to bring this country to its knees. No, that's what we're losing sight of.
Well, let me just say this. The last thing I want to ever do is tell somebody on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of politics that what they're concerned about does not matter or it's not important. Yeah, it may not be important to you or I, but if it's important to them, it's something you need to at the very least listen to. That's how you lose unity, by telling other folks their issues are of no concern.
Well, I think we're creating a boogeyman. A lot of what media is doing is they're trying to scare the crap out of people with this stuff, because they tend to be afraid of stuff they don't really know much about, and they rather not just they don't want to have a conversation with their kids about these things because it's uncomfortable for them, because they don't get it, and so they just rather it not exist. Yeah. So that's the thing. They're taking the stance of they're forcing it down our throats to scare you, because that's a way to get you to go to the polls and vote for them, because they're going to say, we're going to get this crap out of here so you don't even have to worry about it. And, if you got a kid that's confused about something and your kid's getting picked on at school, it matters to you. You don't want your kid to feel like crap just because they are confused. And you don't want them to make it policy to where you are ostracized. You don't exist. We're going to take all this literature out. You don't exist because you're a problem. You have something wrong with you. You need to be fixed. Yeah. And that's the narrative that we're creating. So by making it such a big deal and making policy about this stuff, that's wrong. We need to make policy about being able to feed our kids and send our kids to school and be able to afford health care and not worry about if we're going to go bankrupt if I get cancer. These are the things that really matter, not what bathroom my kid's going to use or whatever. I mean,
but you say that until somebody comes forward.
Let's get a hold of what really honestly matters.
Yeah, but it sounds okay until your kid goes into a bathroom and something happens to him. They're going to put that all over the media. I agree with you. It's very down in the weeds. It rarely happens, but it does. I got to move it on, Ryan. Appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you, Tim. No, you got a good thing going on here, man. I appreciate you.
Welcome back anytime, man. Thank you for the compliment. Real quick in the comments, somebody, we hear this over and over and over again, predominantly from folks on the right. Robert Howard states the media is the problem. I just want to say this. I really hope I'm wrong on this. Really hope I'm wrong on this. But there is so much complaining about the media from the right that I do fear if President Trump gets reelected, he's going to do something about our freedom in terms of access to the media. Because the right portrays the media as just being an outright monster. So I'm going to assume if the right believes the media is as bad as they are, it would not be difficult to convince them to pass a few laws against media freedoms, because at the end of the day, they're harming every damn body. I don't like that. If you don't like a particular media outlet, just don't watch that shit. But it is amazing at how much the right blames the media. All of this shit floating around about Kamala, there was racist stuff floating around about Obama, Sleepy Joe. I didn't hear people on the left blaming the media. On the right, any criticism of Trump is blamed on the media. Even when folks have said some of the most vile shit about Kamala, Obama, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, you don't hear the left saying, well, it's the media. No, they say it's the person that's saying that shit. But when folks are critical and say wild shit about candidates on the right, it always has to come somehow, some way, because the media did it. I'll just tell you my own personal spiel before I go back to the box. And I do appreciate if you folks would tap the screen on TikTok, get the likes up to about 80,000. We can certainly do that. Certainly on YouTube, get the likes up to about 100. We got over 500 of you folks. We can certainly make that happen. In regards to the media, I make it, no secret that most of the media I watch is right-wing media. I watch a hell of a lot of Fox News. And I've said on the program several times, because I watch so much Fox News, that I'm often suspicious of African Americans. If I'm in a major city, I go to Philadelphia, Detroit sometimes, pull up to an intersection, particularly at night, I'm looking all around. I have to tell myself subconsciously, you grew up around these folks. Why the hell are you antsy? These your people. Because I watch media that make African Americans look bad. So I will say that the media can have that effect on you. I will say that because I do believe the way it's because I watch so much right-wing media that does indeed show you CVS getting robbed over and over again. African Americans setting cities on fire is a common statement. I mean, it does portray African Americans as pretty bad. You watch Officer Tatum or Candace Owens, who both are black themselves, almost every reference they make to black people is of us doing something bad. So it can have an effect on you, but I don't buy into the notion that everybody that has criticism is getting it from the media. Sometimes you're getting it from what the person or the group of people are actually doing. Looking in the comments, grammar corrections officer. All right, fair enough. How can I call in? The audio you're hearing is coming from the TikTok side. The handsome liberal on both sides, on both platforms, but you're hearing the audio from viewers on the TikTok side. I have not figured out a way yet, and I am eager to do so because my MAGA audience is on YouTube. I have far more right-leaning participants on YouTube. I would love to be able to speak to you folks. I enjoy talking to MAGA. You know I'm MAGA friendly, regardless of anything else. But I don't know how to bring up YouTube viewers to actually converse with. The platform is not set up that way. The minute I figure out how to do it, I certainly will. Marin, appreciate the support and the super chat once again. We have never been more divided since the Civil War than we are today. I actually kind of agree with that. Lincoln ran on a unity ticket in 1864 with Andrew Johnson to send a message of national unity. Could we do that in today's world? I don't want to do that in today's world because Andrew Johnson was full of shit. And I mean that directly. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, put the nation back together, and literally left Union soldiers in the South to protect African Americans after freeing them from oppression. Once Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, now keep in mind with those Union soldiers throughout the South, just like when we were in Afghanistan, we had American GIs, Americans stationed all over Afghanistan. What started happening? Women started being able to have signs of freedom. Women started being able to go to school. Women started being able to run their own bit. All the oppression of women was starting to go away because Americans were there occupying the country and preventing the Taliban from doing it. Now that the Taliban is left, now that Americans have left Afghanistan, they went right back to oppressing women. All of the businesses, all of the freedoms women had are now gone. America did the same thing. Right after the Civil War, whereas Abraham Lincoln and the North won, they left Union soldiers all over the South. Just like women in Afghanistan, African Americans started having positions of office, participating in politics. You had African American Congress. African Americans were starting, just like women in Afghanistan, to live free. But just like when America left Afghanistan and the Taliban went back to their old ways, once Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson, his VP, took over and removed all the Union soldiers from the South. And you didn't really see another African-American politician in the South for damn near 100 plus years. They went just like the Taliban, right back to all the old oppressive ways. And it continued that way probably to the Martin Luther King era. Similar to exactly what's going on in Afghanistan. Almost a mirror situation to that. Anyhow, which is why I'm not a fan of when you said bring Andrew Johnson and Abraham Lincoln. No, we can do Abraham, but don't bring back Andrew. And I do agree with you, though. We are very, very divided. And somebody's FSU says Andrew Johnson had Abraham Lincoln unalived. Shit, could be. It was a very unpopular thing, freeing African Americans. You cost a lot of folks a ton of money by freeing slaves. Anyhow, going back to the box, I have a suggestion that will explain everything as to which president of the United States did what while in office. This is the easiest way to do a comparison. Fact check if Donald J. Trump actually said grab him by the pussy. Well, I think, let me just say this. Let's say everything that was stated against Trump is bullshit and Trump is a good guy and it's all a lie. And let's say the same thing applies to Kamala Harris. I don't think that matters. For the simple fact is the agenda that Kamala Harris is trying to deliver to America versus the agenda that Trump has are so radically different that you're not going to cause somebody to jump sides. The direction for America that Kamala's trying to deliver and what Trump is trying, they are so far apart that it doesn't matter if the grab them by the you-know-what is bullshit or, Kamala allegedly locked up black. I don't think nobody cares. The agendas are too damn radical at this point. Remember, people were suggesting they would vote for Biden even if he died in office. That's a perfect example of how different these individuals are. That a large portion of America, millions of people, were publicly saying they would rather vote for a guy that may die in office. That should tell you. So it doesn't really matter about, anything in their past at this point. The agendas are just too different. Thank you for your thoughts, Moran. Thank you for the support. Going back to the box, Larry Pittorf. Good afternoon, Larry. Welcome to the program. Is Kamala qualified for the job? What say you, Larry?
You were mentioning about can't get people up in the live on TikTok. And
no, YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. I'm sorry.
Yeah. TikTok is fine. It's YouTube. I want to talk to my
okay.
Yeah, my YouTube side is far more right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. I misunderstood you.
Okay. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, and thank you for being you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Come on through anytime, man. All right, moving the program on. I was one of those with Biden. You could put anyone in there. Yeah, there's a lot of vote blue no matter who, because Trump is promising a radical agenda. Remember when Bernie Sanders was running, everybody socialist and he's going to be radical and far left? Trump is far right. The agenda Trump is promoting right now is a far right agenda. Now, some would say that Kamala is promoting a far left agenda. We can discuss that. But Trump is promoting a far right agenda. This is not George W. Bush. We're talking far right, extreme pro-life stuff. Children reading the Bible, no matter what religion they are. Who gives a damn you're going to read the Bible? I mean, this is far right stuff. America's going far 7-2. A potential of 7-2 on the Supreme Court. Imagine if the Supreme Court was 7-2 in favor of the liberals. You would lose your gun rights. You would lose your gun. I strongly believe that. If the Supreme Court had 7 liberals to only 2 conservatives, you would lose your gun rights. Reparations would probably happen. You'd have a far left America. So I don't know why people would believe 6-3 for 30, 40 years. That's the way it is now, probably. Or even 7-2 if Trump gets elected. That's going to be a far right America. You weren't dealing with that, for instance, when Trump got elected in 2016. The Trump of 2024, certainly with J.D. Vance getting in there talking about women that don't have children, are essentially lesser than women that have children. Much further to the right than 2016 Trump, 2016 to 2020 Trump. Going back to the box. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. 95,000. Show your boy some love. Stick the ruler. Good afternoon, Stick.
Good afternoon, Hansel. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Is Harris qualified?
I would definitely say she's qualified. One of your earlier guests just went down her resume, and her resume sounds excellent.
Yeah. Then why do you think there's so many people that say otherwise?
Well, I mean, so many people is only the right. The left, we're unified. We're ready to. We're locked and cocked and ready to go. And we just got to have the DNC, and then that way we can go ahead and say who our vice president is going to be. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what they're hating on is the motivation.
Let me interrupt you. Hold on. I'll let you continue, but you often hear when folks are suggesting that Trump says something wild, everybody said was taken out of context or it was a joke. I got a viewer right now. And by the way, this is Leslie Martinez. Shout out. She's a female. I'm assuming. Well, Leslie could be both. But Leslie Martinez is saying J.D. Vance, the cat lady stay in an abusive relationship for the sake of the kids. J.D. Vance was being sarcastic. Read the entire script. This is nonsense. Do you think some of those controversial statements from J.D. Vance is just sarcasm?
Well, I believe that they're taking a page out of the Donald Trump book in the sense of a Donald Trump supporter, and they're now that he's his pick for vice president, they're just doing him the same way they do Trump. That is out of context. That you got to see the whole speech. I mean, we've already heard all of this, correct?
Yeah.
That's the actual Trump anthem.
This is insane, though. I mean,
I know this is. I know this is. Just like grab them out of this, and I want to hear that. I didn't know that. I didn't hear. Come on, it's all over the internet. How you don't know?
Here is the actual quote, because I did a video on this earlier. Let's give voters, or better yet, let's give votes. Yeah, let's give voters to all children. Let's give votes to all children in this country. But let's give the control over those votes to the parents of those children. When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Where is the sarcasm in that? What the hell you mean sarcasm? He meant that shit.
Well, I know that part, but I'll tell you one thing he didn't also do. He didn't think it through. they're having a problem with birthing children. So you got one mom somewhere in America with 5 kids, and she gets to vote 6-7 times, huh?
Yeah.
Or whatever, how many other kids she got. So do you really think that mom that you're telling, number one, she can't have an abortion, she can't basically reproduce without her say so, especially if you're in Texas, in the sense of you can't leave the state if you're pregnant. I mean, you got all sorts of stuff. But anyway, do you really think those people that are already here, because I'm not talking about immigrants, I'm talking about Americans that have been going through it for years without the Republican help, but then you give them the power to say, basically you give them more power to say what goes on in their life. Do you actually think they're going to vote Republican?
No. Not only are they not going to vote Republican, and I agree it's insanely hilarious, but not only are they not going to vote Republican, what J.D. Vance is promising or suggesting would last all of 5 minutes, because who has the most children? Minorities. So you can give all the voting power to Hispanics and black people. Guaranteed that shit ain't going to last more than 5 minutes.
So that's my point. We're the ones that's having babies. We're the ones that's continuing on, and we don't have that problem. We don't have to come up with abortion laws and different things like that to hurry our population up. We don't have to do that. So I mean, J.D. Vance, if he wants to do that, I would say, yeah, go ahead. And then those white tea folks that only have 1 child or 2 child, and then you got that, like I said, one mom or dad that has 5. Oh man, America's gonna be real different.
Here's the problem though. The young girl that joined the military at age 19 and is serving her country and has no kids has less say so than the welfare mom that's sitting on the couch with 6 kids. That makes no damn sense at all.
And guess what? I get it. But guess what? Where I stand right now, I wish that they would go ahead and change the law, because that gives me more power, because I got my own set of children, and now, let me see, that would be 4 extra votes. I appreciate it, J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
For the Democratic Party, that is J.D. Vance. I just want you to know that. For the Democratic Party.
It's a really, really bad statement. What about the notion that, America is being ran by a bunch of childless cat ladies?
Well, this is the thing with that. I don't know where he got that from. I don't know why he's thinking like that.
I do.
Like, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, at the end of the day, this country has been ran the same ever since, until Donald Trump got into office, and then everything went, to ape shit when he started running, or he got into office, and after he got in office and said he was running again. So in this time period that we having right now, everything is wishy-washy. Nobody is actually owning up to it. Even our current president, Joe Biden, he said he wasn't going to drop out. He dropped out.
Right.
Donald Trump has said a lot of things that he wasn't going to do, and he did it. J.D. Vance said he was a never Trumper, and now he's the vice president nominee for Donald Trump. So this is the time that we're living in. But I will say this too, also, just like your other caller said, that they complain about all of this other stuff, right? You complain about prices, haven't done anything for prices. You complain about oil prices or gas prices, haven't done anything about gas prices. But you complain about that to get people on your side, but then you go and do something with the LGBT community, you go do something with abortions, you go do something that you're talking about it, but you're getting everybody riled up about these things, the border, gas prices, inflation. But you're not doing anything about it. You just got a whole bunch of people angry, and then when you say, okay, but look, we want to put this in here too, and then that's what.
But you don't believe Trump promising? You don't believe Trump promising the drill might not bring down gas prices? You don't think he can do it?
Why didn't he do it when he was in office? Why didn't he slow down the production of oil, period, anyway, with Saudi Arabia? We was getting it so cheap. Let him tell it. Why did he slow it down? Why did he tell them you got to reduce it by 10 million barrels a day?
Well, but the price of fuel, for Americans was cheaper under Trump, though, was it not?
Well, that's because he inherited the cheapness. He inherited the deal. But okay, let's just keep it G. And when I say keep it G, I'm talking about keep it godly, right? Let's just keep it godly, right?
Keep it godly.
And tell the and tell it and tell the truth. That's why I'm saying keep it godly. Because a gangster will lie. If I say keep it G as in a gangster, he's gonna lie. So I'm gonna keep it godly and tell you the truth. Let's tell the truth, man. He's not really that guy. He's never been that guy. He never was that guy that's gonna lower prices. If he was gonna lower prices, he would have been did it. But the truth is, every time a Democrat comes into office, at least the last two, they've always had to fix the books. They've always had to be the chief financial officer for the United States and fix the books. Then what happens? The Republicans say, oh man, it's good for the picking. We can go in there and do what we do. And they get in there and they do what they do, which is spend money.
But what about the notion?
You got the fixers and the people that break it.
Well, how do you respond to folks like Jay Rich on YouTube? And he says that, maybe Trump was not able to accomplish everything because he was constantly fighting attacks coming from the left.
He was only fighting attacks from the left because he had already attacked the left. There was nobody coming at this man. There was nobody really saying anything that wasn't true. There was nobody doing that. He started that. He is that divisor in chief. That's him.
Yeah.
That's him. Division in chief. That's what he did. He divided the country. He told one set of people, hey, they're trying to do this to you. They're trying to do that to you. And then told the other people, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
What do you got to lose? You're last in this. You're 58th in this. You're da-da-da. So just vote for me. What do you got to lose? There's no, I'm going to change it for you. He didn't say anything about changing anything. He just said, what do you got to lose? I just won't touch it either. I'll just leave it the way it is too. What do you got to lose?
Well, it did work for him. I got to move it on stick, though. It did work. It got him elected, and there's a really good chance he may get reelected. Appreciate you coming on, though, man.
Well,
real quick, go ahead.
Well, I'll say this, though. If we went old school, he really didn't get elected because the popular vote, he lost it.
Well, that's going to be for any Republican. Right? That's going to be for any Republican.
Every time. And that's why they have the Electoral College. All right, Tim. Have a good one.
Fair enough. Thank you. And I will say this. I am a supporter of the Electoral College for the simple fact is if you only went by the popular vote, fairly rural states, certainly the ones that are at the top near Canada, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, all that, they would have no say-so. If you only went by the Electoral College, if you only went by the popular vote, everybody would have to live under the thumb of states like California and New York and in Illinois and things like that where all the people live. So I'm not a fan of, because we are 50 countries on one landmass. Very similar to Europe with a bunch of different countries, but they have what they call the European Union. But at the end of the day, each state wants to be its own entity. Now, if you started getting rid of the Electoral College and you went to the popular vote, the small states would have no say-so. They would have to live by the wishes of the bigger states, and that's not fair. And I do believe if you tried to do that, you could break up the United States. It would be divided. You could break up our union, and states are going to go on their own. If you're going to make me live like they live, like for instance in New York, in Manhattan, where everybody lives on top of each other, you're going to have a lot of folks that support gun bans because they have a lot of problems with road rage and people shooting each other. That's not happening in Wyoming, where people live far and spaced out. We use our guns to hunt. Most of the people in New York, particularly in the urban areas, they're not hunting unless they're hunting another human being. So you don't want New York laws to start being bestowed upon, Montana somewhere. So you gotta, I believe in the Electoral College. I believe every state should have its say-so. Looking in the comments, can you imagine California law throughout the country? Richard, no. But I also can't imagine Ron DeSantis law or Governor Abbott of Texas law. I wouldn't want that throughout the country either. When Mike Pence was running for president, the former governor of Indiana, he stated he was going to be running for a pro-life agenda from the Oval Office. He made it clear if you elected him as president, his goal was a federal abortion ban. Mike Pence came out and said it. I wouldn't want to, I don't want every state going under him either. So it really depends. Looking in the comments, this is funny. Brim Time says Illinois is turning red. That is beyond comical. Going back to the box. Don't y'all ever get tired of being wrong. Russia, Jussie Smollett. You putting the Russia. the whole so-called Russia helped Trump out the election. Putting that in the same category with Jussie Smollett. One individual actor saying that these things have nothing to do with each other. Nothing at all. I mean, that's like putting some of the things Trump said, like the election was stolen, in the same category as a Karen in some neighborhood. They have nothing to do with each other, but nice try, nice stretch. I want Trump to win. I'm from the United Kingdom. It's interesting you say that, Luke Rush, because you guys had Brexit. Trump was a big fan of Brexit, where you're going to separate from the European Union. That's turned out to be a mess in your country, Luke. They've really tried to get back into the European Union. That's turned out to be a mess. Just like America under Trump was talking about getting out of NATO. We see what happened with Brexit. The folks in the UK are not happy about that. Look at in the comments. Everyone focuses so much on federal level but ignore local government and wonder why everything is so bad. Because the federal government often controls what happens at the local level. Let me go back to the box. By the way, tap the screen. We should be around 110,000 likes. We can certainly make that happen. We're pretty damn close. Program is uncensored. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You don't have to agree with the damn host. It's all about free speech here, uncensored. If you enjoy that type of dialogue from all sides of the aisle, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube if you will. Monday through Friday, we're generally here at 1 p.m. Central, 1300 hours, weekdays, Monday through Friday. We did a night show last night. The turnout was insane. So I may start doing some evening shows as opposed to the afternoon. I mean, that was up to midnight, but the crowd was insane. A lot of input, a lot of participation. It was crazy. Looking in the, we're asking the question: is Kamala Harris qualified for the job? And I see somebody in the comments, Step 3 a.m. in the vault says, I like evening. Yeah, with a name like 3 a.m., I bet you do. Going back to the box, conservative Rich, 3 a.m. in the evening, I like evening. Yeah, I bet you do. Conservative Rich, good afternoon. Got me all screwed up in my day reference. But conservative Rich. Hey,
good afternoon, man.
Good to have you back on.
Has anybody else complained to you about lag on TikTok lately?
Not lately. I switched from T-Mobile. I used to get it all the time some months ago, and now I am on Verizon. I haven't had a problem with it over the last few months, but it used to be bad on T-Mobile.
Yeah, I'm getting it real bad, and I'm on T-Mobile. It's just weird because it's like certain lives, and then I'll go to another live, and it's perfect, and then I go to another one, and I can't barely hear them. It's crazy what's going on.
Well, sometimes there's
hey, man, I'm glad to hear what you said about the
go ahead.
The Electoral College, and I'm just so happy to hear that that's your feeling on it, because it is so important. It's such an important mechanism to avoiding mob rule.
But I will tell you this, because I will tell you this, when you're pointing out it's important to let every state have their own rights to avoid mob rule. I think while I'm a fan of letting each state have its own individual choices and freedoms, a 6-3, potentially a 7-2 Supreme Court majority is going to end that in favor of the right. If Trump gets reelected, at least from that aspect, I'm not saying that Trump's going to be Dr. Evil or anything like that, but we do know if Trump gets reelected and he gets opportunities to replace Supreme Court justices, we've seen what he's done already with some folks that are far right already getting rid of something as serious as Roe versus Wade. So if Trump gets reelected, we are going to have a much further right country. And I do believe some of the things we're talking about may start to get kind of watered down, such as each individual nation wanting to have their own policies. The 7-2 Supreme Court, it's going to be a right-wing America. Would you not agree with that?
Well, it's constitutional conservatism, which is what the Supreme Court is supposed to uphold. So I'm actually not fearful of that at all, because what is the constitutional conservatism is conserving empowered people and limiting government. So
forcing children to read the Bible, no matter what religion they're in. That's what you call constitutional conservatism.
No. Of course not.
Okay, that happened.
You know, you're talking about fringe. You're going to the fringe. You know, you're going off to the fringe, and we can do that in both directions.
How is that going into the fringe? Well, hold on. How is that going into the fringe? We have a whole state now that is requiring all the children to read the Bible as part of their curriculum, regardless of their religion. How is that fringe? A whole state is doing that.
Whole state. But that's, again, there you go with your state rights, and that's a whole argument for that state to have, which I disagree with entirely. And I'm a constitutional conservative, so
but
I don't know. States are going to try weird things all the time.
Okay, and
right? I mean, what are we doing in California? We're allowing children to have sex changes without notifying their parents. I mean, it's just
right. And can you imagine? Right? Can you imagine what America would be like if you had a 7-2 majority for liberals on the Supreme Court? You don't think that would be a problem at all, huh?
Liberals are different than the extreme leftists that we see running our country.
No,
I'm actually a liberal in many ways. So, but yeah, I do see a problem either way, right?
Right.
So,
that's all I'm trying to get you to say is that the Supreme Court.
This is really definitely we're pushing extremes and the pendulum swings, right? So, I don't want an extreme right or left.
But you just stated
centrist in so many.
Yeah, but you just tried to indicate that a 7-2 Supreme Court majority is something you would not be concerned about because it's a constitutional majority, as if that's no big deal.
I'm not scared of it because it's upholding the Constitution is something I agree with, and as long as they're constitutional conservatives, I don't have a problem, because what are they going to do? They're going to empower free people, and they're going to limit the government. That, to me, isn't a scary proposition. The government taking over large quantities of the economy and the states and taking over state rights, I'm more afraid of that.
What makes you think that if the Supreme Court was 7-2, they're just going to uphold the Constitution? And I mean, they're not going to just promote all sorts of right-wing issues. They're going to go by the Constitution and do everything right, huh?
Well, it's constitutional conservatism, so you fall back to the Constitution. That's it. The Constitution limits the government and empowers the people. That's what we should all want. That's why I say if we ever actually had a real debate, everybody would be a conservative with the Constitution, because what is the Constitution doing? It's protecting the freedoms that you have in this country.
I don't.
Period.
Here's what I don't get.
And if we want to talk about Roe v. Wade, right? We can go back to Roe v. Wade. If you actually listen to Ruth Ginsburg talk about Roe v. Wade, I have a post up on my page if you want to go take a look. She says that Roe v. Wade was government overreach, because what it did was it forced abortion legality on all 50 states and opened the door for government-funded abortion in all of these communities that didn't even support abortion. It was really strong government strong-arm.
Okay.
And on getting rid of it was actually limiting the government. So it's a little bit of a take. I know you haven't heard, and that's really why I came up here, because I wanted to talk about the free press and the reason why these real debates aren't happening. We're getting just propagandized.
What do you mean by propaganda? Explain.
It's not fair to the people. The free press is crucial for free people.
Right.
You can't have free people without a free press. Okay. And these are the people who are supposed to keep the politicians honest by asking the hard questions, by figuring out the tough questions and asking them. And instead, what we have is the free press is working in orchestrated harmony to hide things like Joe Biden's condition for the last 3.5 years. I mean, this is not the free
but you
press.
make so let me ask you this. On January 6th, I'm watching Fox News that evening. Now, Fox News is a press, that is a media channel. They all are saying that Trump won the election by a landslide, and on January 6th, the participants are Antifa. Is that not the free press, as you put it, abusing the powers given to them?
Absolutely. Okay. But you know what you have to respect is the fact that Fox News calls itself an entertainment channel, and the people on there don't even call themselves journalists.
No, they didn't start calling themselves an entertainment. Hold on, that is not true. That is patently false. The only time Fox News started calling themselves an entertainment channel is when Dominion was kicking their ass about Tucker Carlson, and they said that to say, hold on, hang on. They were calling themselves fair and balanced. We report, you decide. I've been watching Fox News for like 20-some years. They were making it sound like they were serious journalism.
Yeah, but you're talking about the times of Hannity and Combs, and where they had debate channels. They did switch gears from there, and they went right wing. I think during Obama, I want to say. Really, right? I mean, when did Combs they were dropping left wingers, and they really did go to.
Yeah,
at one point they were the greatest debate station.
You are correct, but when they decided to go further to the right, they were still telling people they were fair and balanced. They were lying about it.
Well, maybe for a minute there. I mean, they're all bullshit. It's just all bullshit. Like, it doesn't matter what side. You can point at one side or the other.
All right.
They're, one side's giving you their side, the other side's giving you their side, but none of it is the free press exposing the truth. This isn't investigative journalism. This is literally propaganda, and a free country can't continue this way. So I really hope that people take it to them by stop supporting them, and this is the free press right here. Me and you having an honest discussion about the problems we're facing in our life is the free press. They're orchestrated. They're corporations.
Yeah, no disagreement there. I do believe
that. Right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
No. Yeah. Man, I like listening to you, man, and I appreciate what you do, and I'm glad that we could have this dialogue. I just wish it wasn't so laggy. Maybe I'm a dump T-Mobile.
All right, well, come back anytime. There certainly is a lag. You're always welcome back, though. I'll go ahead and move it on. Free press is what matters, says Kevin. Yeah, but the problem is if you favor a candidate, like, for instance, that's what Trump's supporters are saying, is that the press is making their candidate look bad. In fact, anyone, and this is my humble opinion, you're totally fine disagreeing with it. You can be critical in the comments. You know I don't block, ban, or censor anybody. But I do believe that when it comes to MAGA, anyone that criticizes Trump is either delivering fake news or it's skewed in some kind of way. You cannot criticize Trump in any way, fashion, or form without folks saying that you're brainwashed. Or I've had people on the program where I've had to chastise under the guise that you're telling me there's nothing bad about this guy at all? There's nothing you can say negative about Trump at all without it being a condition of being brainwashed? He's done nothing wrong at all. He's perfect. So I'm not a fan of it from that aspect. Looking in the comments, I believe this got to be true. I share his views. Martin Gingrich, I'm assuming you referred to my last caller. I do agree with the value of the free press. I'm not going to disagree with that. And I think that the politicians don't like the free press because the free press will be critical of them. Steve Doocy, son of Peter Doocy at Fox News, he literally goes to, he gets to question the Biden administration, but it's all about gotcha questions. Everybody looks forward to hearing what Doocy has to ask. What is her name? Jean St. Pierre or whatever the spokesperson is for Biden, you already know he's going to ask something critical of the Biden administration to try to get a gotcha clip. Now, I will give Jean St. Pierre, whatever her name is, she's the African-American woman that speaks on behalf of Biden, very similar to what she does what Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Spicer, I think it was, or whatever his name was, used to do for Trump. And Dana Perino used to do it for George W. Bush. I'll give the Biden administration credit for continuing to deal with Fox News in terms of media questions when you know they're looking for reasons to shame the Biden administration. Trump would not take questions like that. If MSNBC had a version of Ducey that was only up there to ask President Trump's spokesperson, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, gotcha questions, Trump would order her not to take questions from her. You would not hear that person get... The fact that the Biden administration keeps going back to Ducey like that, I got to give them credit for that. Even if Ducey is kicking their ass, the fact is they are willing to accept questions. Trump wouldn't do that. Right now, as we speak, Trump is suggesting he is not going to do the debate with ABC because the network is biased against him. He did the same thing with the Super Bowl interview in 2018 with NBC. NBC was NBC and Fox News kind of goes back and forth between the years to host the Super Bowl. That year was being hosted by NBC. Trump suggested, I'm not going to do a Super Bowl interview because NBC is a biased network. He didn't do a Now, remember when Obama was president, he did a Super Bowl interview with Bill O'Reilly. That's about as critical of Obama as you can be. Sat down and did a Super Bowl interview in front of millions of people with Bill O'Reilly. Trump comes up, well, I don't want to be on NBC because it's not fair to me. So I just want to point that out. I got to give credit to Biden for having Fox News ask them these gotcha questions over and over and over again, and they don't run from Fox News. Yet Trump has ran from NBC, and now he's suggesting he's not going to do the debate with Kamala Harris on ABC. He's literally picking and choosing the news networks. Free press. That's not fair and free with the press. I only want to be on networks that are friendly to me. It's kind of what it sounds like he's saying. Looking in the comments, Kamala, the Trump slayer. I don't know if she's going to do that. Wow. Looking in the comments, does he really believe the current Supreme Court would stop MAGA from replacing government officials with MAGA loyalists, says J. Roy. I think he would. The hell I don't. If Trump gets a 7-2 majority on the Supreme Court, and like 5 of them, but he's already had 3 picks, so that means he would replace, I'm pretty sure he'll get to replace Clarence Thomas and Justice Roberts. They're 74 and 75. And let's say he gets to replace, Clarence Thomas and Alito. They're 74 and 75. They already like Trump. So we know both of them would be happy to retire and let Trump put in a 40, 50-year-old. So that's 5 picks already. Now it's a possibility with Sotomayor or Justice Roberts, who are both 69. Now, Sotomayor is an Obama appointee. She's liberal. But Roberts is a Republican. So he could get anywhere between 6 and 7 picks. Now, we're going to say that if 6 or 7 Supreme Court justices are on the court simply because Trump picked them, you feel confident that we'll maintain constitutionality in this country and they won't be biased towards Trump. I guarantee that if a liberal president, Kamala, Biden, Obama, Clinton, had 6 picks in the Supreme Court, the right would be like, they're in his back pocket. But 6 picks from Trump, and no, they're all going to be fair, huh? They're not going to rule in favor of him. Knowing damn well you would feel that way if the others. In my opinion, they should pass a law that one president only gets a limited amount of picks. I'm not saying that Trump is corrupt or any other president is corrupt, but that sure makes it damn easy to do so. They should have a limit on how many picks one president can do. I mean, Trump will literally be responsible for over half of the Supreme Court if he wins again. You're going to tell me you feel confident that they will go against Trump if he does something wrong, knowing damn well that if a liberal had 5 or 6 Supreme Court picks, you wouldn't feel that way. It just shouldn't be allowed. Period. Look it in the comments. Moving on, and I do appreciate you folks with the super chat. Twain to Square. Here's my question. If this Congress was in office during Nixon's court issues, would the Congress today do? No, I don't believe so. I mean, and we know Trump, whether you like him or not, Trump likes loyalists. He certainly after dealing with what happened with Mike Pence, Trump doesn't want to deal with that bullshit again. Or Attorney General Barr. Because if they had been loyalists, he probably would still be president. So yeah, there's no way in hell if he has between 5 and 7 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court, that anybody, whether you support Trump or not, should feel that the Supreme Court is unbiased. It will hold Trump accountable. That makes no damn sense at all. Twain Square says, tell Trump it's time to go Republican power. I mean, I don't quite get that. Tell Trump it's time to go Republican power. I mean, I don't quite get that. Going back to the box, though, Furback, one of my subscribers, thank you. Appreciate that. Good afternoon. It's up to as many as 7 picks.
What I take on, I know what she take on, yeah.
Furback.
Hey, what's up, Furback? Hey, my fault, man. Let me get to this call. Sorry. What's up, man? How you doing, Tim?
It's all good, all good. So what do you think? Is Kamala capable? Is Kamala qualified for the job?
Yes, most definitely, man. Most definitely. She definitely qualified. In comparison to the other options, she's definitely qualified.
What's wrong with the other option?
I've been saying since 2016, he had some good policies. It took me a while to agree with you that he did mess up Obama thing that he had rolling, but that dude wasn't qualified, man. We hired a mechanic to do brain surgery.
Wait a minute. You're saying electing Trump is like hiring a mechanic to do brain surgery?
Yes, exactly.
Well, a lot of folks believe he did a good job on the head. I mean, a lot of folks believe Trump did a really good job.
Yeah, and I can see that. Like I said, it took me a while to come down to where you was at, that he didn't fuck nothing up.
Yeah.
And in my humble opinion, when he had to be a president, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Give me something that you believe Trump did bad for the country then.
Okay, well, the shit that happened in Virginia, you can go about what he made, the Trump's plane, and the Trump interpreter said, well, he didn't mean it that way.
You talking about Charlottesville, good people on both sides.
Exactly. The Charlottesville, Rosie, it's so much shit that comes out of his mouth that people say we should ignore. You know what I mean? He just had a sassy attempt on him.
Yeah.
And I'm not a cruel person, but for somebody to talk all that shit, it's hard to feel bad for him. And
wait. Somebody tried to take the man's life, and you say you don't feel bad for him because he talk a lot of shit.
Well, he doesn't seem to care about anybody else when they going through shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? That's my only angle, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he showed a little more compassion and watched his words, and then maybe, you can lend some, sympathy for somebody like that. And then, the FBI is now not even saying that he really got struck by, they don't know if it was a frag.
That's crazy. I mean, they already got rid of the head of the Secret Service. At some point, you almost want to yell at them, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't even know if the man got hit by a bullet. I mean, like, after all of that screwing up, now you don't even know what hit the dude? Do you even know if the guy on the roof was the one that shot? I mean, like, they looking really, really bad.
Yeah, they are, but he is too. I mean, he walked around with that maxi pad on his ear, and it don't even look like he got his ears pierced. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean?
Wait. You must have misspoke. I thought I heard maxi pad.
Yeah, you're right. It's the Donnie Maxi pad. That's the ear pad he had on his ear.
You are a fool. Oh my God.
MAGA just wants to be entertained, man. You know what I'm saying? He's Strength. Did you see him on The Apprentice? The Apprentice was a fucking reality show. I don't get this strong guy. I'm from a neighborhood. I know where you from. I was just up there this weekend. And my experience, the dudes that talk all the shit ain't really the steppers. It's the quiet ones that you gotta watch.
There's a lot of validity to that for sure. So I guess I'd have to ask you: do you believe Trump did anything good for America when he was in office?
Yeah, one thing I can say he did was he brought all these warts up to the surface. You know what I mean? A lot of these people
got some straight up analogies that are worse than Nas. Wait, you said he brought the warts. What are you, herpes or something? What the fuck?
Yeah, man. You always thought they was there, but now you see them up on the surface, and it's easier to pick them out. You know what I mean? So yeah, he did that.
God damn.
No doubt.
Jesus Christ. Wait a minute, hold on. All right. Let me go back to Kamala, because you killing me on Trump. You do believe Kamala can do the job?
Yes, by all indicators, she's been doing it. She's been elected. She's in her wheelhouse. Right. Like I said, the whole thing, and you kind of pushed back on me, but this whole notion of a businessman being good for the country, you can't run this country like a business. Everybody's not productive, and in a business, if you're not productive, you're not in the business anymore. So you need somebody that gives a shit about people.
You saying that Trump doesn't give a shit about people? You saw him stop off at a Chick-fil-A. He's buying folks Subway sandwiches in Philly. He claims he's done more for blacks than anybody since Abraham Lincoln.
And you just said that with a straight face.
The man said it.
He said a lot of shit. That's what I'm saying, man. Seriously? He's playing in our face. What the fuck is that, man? You done more than Abraham Lincoln for us?
Well, he said more than anybody since Abraham Lincoln. So he admits Abraham Lincoln got him beat, but he is in number 2.
No, hell no. He ain't in number 2. Nothing to do with the government, man. Come on, this guy. Like I said, man, it's easy to beat up on Trump because he's an easy punching bag. But it is what it is. We live in a country where you can vote for people like that, and I believe you deserve the government that you get. I just don't want him back.
But when you say he's an easy punching bag, because I got a lot of my folks, particularly my MAGA on YouTube, that would suggest the only reason Trump makes a good punching bag is because the media is misleading the people. Is it a case of, media brainwashing folks, why Trump has such a negative reputation with a lot of folks?
No, what I mean by he's a punching bag is that he has no defense. He just throws punches, leaves him open, man. He does that to himself. He's his worst enemy, period.
I don't disagree that the tweets and things like that have not helped Trump out. Let's say, for instance, that he does, which I don't see Trump as a guy who runs from people, but I am starting to question whether he's going to show up and debate Kamala. Do you think that Kamala could be could give him any resistance, or do you think he would trounce her like he did Biden?
No, he won't. Like most people in America, you have one. A black woman ain't nothing to be playing with. When she get on your ass, it's over, bro. It's over. Especially one that's educated and know what the hell she doing. He don't want that smoke. Look at all the DAs and prosecutors. These black ladies. That's his kryptonite. He don't know how to deal with them.
Damn, I once used to live a life like that my damn self. Black women were my kryptonite. And it's crazy because he's dealt with Letitia James. Fonnie Willis is on deck. I don't know if Fonnie Willis will ever get to try Trump because her case is in such disarray. We know what Alvin Bragg did. Oddly enough, is it racism? A lot of black people are taking Trump down piece by piece. Is it a case of racism? They're going against Trump?
No, it's just karma. The chick is coming home to roost. That's all that is. That's all that is. When you playing in our face and you in the limelight and you're not a reality show guy no more, you're gonna get more arrows and more shit gonna come out on you. You know, he had one NDA that's already turned over. I'm waiting for the rest of them. Well, I mean, what are you gonna do? And who knows what the hell what these NDAs consist of? You know what I mean?
But what about the possibility that Trump could indeed be our next president? I mean, what do you see for America if Trump is reelected? Good economy?
Because like I can't be bought. Like I said, I'm 47 years old. Gas was cheaper under Reagan. I don't care about any of that. I'm gonna eat regardless, and my family. You know what I mean? That's not gonna stop anything. That's why I say that I can't be bought, because it's about the kids' future, man. I don't want my kids growing up in a right-wing America. I kind of heard you touched on it earlier, and I meant to ask you a couple of weeks ago. You kind of touched on it. Would you say, what's a freer country, a left-leaning or a right-leaning one? You know, I heard you say something about the pews and other things.
Yeah, if you had a 6-3 or certainly a 7-2 liberal majority on the Supreme Court, I think gun rights would be gone. I think they would find a way to roll back the Second Amendment.
Okay, you know what I mean? And I don't totally agree with that, because we got pews on the left too. You know what I mean? But I just see that, you know, anything left is just something that you're uncomfortable with and you disagree with. Most things on the right that controls your life. You know, you talking about you know, the what was it, the Electoral College, and I was in the comments saying move then.
Yeah,
because that's what they're telling.
That is a popular sentiment from folks on the right. If you don't like what's going on, move. I mean, oddly enough, Trump talks about America being dilapidated and the laughing stock, the military is depleted, and nobody ever tells Trump to move. I get your point. That is true. But anytime the left complains, the general response is, if you don't like it, move or leave.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you know, I just think it's, you know, when it comes to, you know, election, and I understand the importance of it and how it can govern our lives, but a woman is up to a majority of her community on what she's allowed to do. That just seems crazy to me. I mean, I heard you say you're 6'6". What's next? If you're 6'2", you can't live in these confines of this environment. I mean, where are we going? I mean, it's Pandora's box.
It's scary. It is scary from the aspect you're painting. And I'm hoping Trump won't take us down that path, but I do got to move it on further back. You're painting a really depressing picture, but you ain't the only one that's saying this. You're welcome back anytime. I got to move it on further back.
Love your show, Tim, man. Keep it up, brother.
Appreciate it. It is a pleasure. Thank you. Looking in the comments, mass illegal only deportation. Damn near 10 million immigrants here. Damn near 10 million immigrants. Where are Americans going to work or live? Well, first of all, it's a country of 350 million currently. I'm not a fan of letting 10 million, but it's not like we're overrun with immigrants. I do believe we should secure the damn border, and you shouldn't have folks here that have no authorization. But the idea that under Biden, we've had so many immigrants that you can't find work, that's not. Most of America, most of the places you go in America, they're not dealing with a whole large portion of illegal immigrants in there. I mean, Boise, Idaho, you think there's a bunch of illegal immigrants in Boise, Idaho competing for jobs? It's in a handful of places. It's not all over the damn country like that. But it could be. I get the point that it could lead to that. But it's not anywhere near like that now. And the right makes it sound like it's just literally everywhere. Looking in the comments, another 10,000 plus more coming. Now coming to secure the vote, says David. No evidence of that, but I will tell you this. Because a lot of folks on the right believe that, you know, the left is letting immigrants in here because they turn into votes. I do believe there's some validity to that. That if an immigrant comes to this country and they are allowed to stay and eventually given voting rights, they are eventually most of them are going to vote left. When you look at how the right treats immigrants, once they become legal, they have very little desire to team up with the right. A lot of these folks would end up telling their kids, if it was left up to the right, we wouldn't be living here. I would have never gotten residency or citizenship or, you know, the benefits of the DREAM Act because the right wanted to throw me out. So I absolutely would agree that once they get here, they're going to turn into liberal voters whenever they can legally. Now, all of this illegals voting and things like that. That's different. But I'm saying that once they become residents, they get their residency and they can legally vote, they're not going to vote Republican because the treatment of them is awful. I mean, there's a lot of immigrants trying to come to this country. They're leaving, despair or maybe violence or in some cases war. And then when they come to America, you got the right calling them rapists and murderers. Yeah, they gonna remember that. Of course they gonna remember that. So whenever they become a legalized citizen, they gonna remember, well, who had our back? Well, I came in through Texas, and that government was calling us rapists and murderers, and they sent us to Chicago, and, well, it was cold in Chicago, but you know what? They put me in a hotel, and they gave me something to eat. Well, yeah, they gonna vote liberal. Of course they gonna vote liberal. You're treating them like shit. What do you think they're gonna do? Look at it in the comments. Lord Mobile, thank you for the super chat. You still haven't looked up Resident Alien. No, I have not, and I promised you I would. I will do that after the show. Resident Alien. Because I totally forgot. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, Mobile RV, in my defense. Thank you. Martin Gingrich. Dude, Obama deported more immigrants than any other president. Facts. I do believe that is accurate, Martin. However, because the Republican side of the aisle, the last thing they would want to let you believe is that the Democratic president in the form of Barack Obama was doing something right. They couldn't tell you. And obviously the left, being pro-immigrant, does not want to plaster Obama all over the damn place and separating families and doing shit like that. Otherwise, he might get the same treatment as Genocide Joe from the progressive side of the aisle. So Obama's protecting the border, and there are people everywhere that don't want to come out and tell the truth about it. The progressives don't want you to be so damn strict at the border, and the right don't want you to believe anything's being done at all. So Obama, meanwhile, is protecting the border and doing what's right and getting virtually no credit for it. In fact, the only time he did get credit for it was when Trump got in office and had to use him as an alibi for what he was doing at the border. All of a sudden now, well, maybe now it's time to point to the last guy was doing the same damn thing when you were lying about what he was doing when he was actually doing it. Resident equals resident alien. Okay, you're confusing me now, Mobile RV, you're confusing me. I'm from the Netherlands, but I really hope that you guys go and vote on November 5th to end this madness, Trump 2024. Now that's coming from Mylan Herstoff, I think it says. You're in the Netherlands and you support voting for Trump. Now I'm assuming, isn't the Netherlands part of NATO? I don't know if I'm right or wrong about that. But just America getting out of NATO puts the entire European continent at risk. You're on that damn continent. What about President Trump would somebody in the Netherlands favor? I'm curious. Let me know, because Trump also favored Brexit, which is dividing your damn continent up too. Well, why would somebody in the Netherlands be pro-Trump? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm missing something. Citizen equals your rights. Okay. Let me know. As a non-Dem or Republican, I want to know, why the hell does it have to be Trump? Genuinely asking, why not some other Republican? Well, they had and I appreciate the comment there, Porkwan or something like that. They had like 9 other, they had everybody from Vivek. They had Nikki Haley. They had Chris Christie. They had Tim Scott. They did have a choice. Now, remember, the liberals didn't get that choice. Biden being an incumbent, they gave it to him. And he obviously has decided he can't fulfill the job. The Republicans had a choice, and they chose Trump. So when you asked genuinely, you stated, I'm genuinely asking, why not some other Republican, why Trump? Because that's who they want. They actually had a choice. They had 9 other options. They chose, Ron DeSantis was a good option. They chose Trump. They want Trump. Going back to by the way, tap the screen. Could make 130,000. I do appreciate all the participation. Certainly is a pleasure. You could be anywhere you want to be this fine Friday afternoon. We may do a show tonight, but I do appreciate that appreciate you folks being here with me. Uncensored free speech is how we run this. I understand there's a hell of a lot of folks that disagree with the politics of every damn body else, including yours truly. But that's how a free speech program runs. You're not going to always hear opinions you favor or things you dislike. You're hearing opinions from everyone. So if you do favor this type of dialogue, follow the program on TikTok or a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central, 1300 hours. That's when you'll find us. I'll do a call with you tonight, RV. I'll be looking forward to that. I want clarity. I'll look up Resident Alien, but certainly I'll look for clarity on that. Big Trig, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Is Kamala qualified? And I see Raishine Powell ask, is Kamala Harris qualified? Ask if J.D. Vance is. That's a really good comeback. That's a really good comeback. Takesha.
Wow, he was up there laughing like a tickle me Elmo, talking about Diet Mountain Dew.
Who said that?
They had a J.D. Vance at his little rally. He was up there laughing so hard when he was talking about Mountain Dew. They ain't have a problem with the way he was laughing, the way they talk about Kamala and the way she laughed. Did you not see that?
No, did he say nobody drinks Diet Mountain Dew or something? I think I heard a clip of that.
No, he was talking about, I think he was saying that the right would say that the left would say that it was something he said. I can't even remember because it was so ridiculous.
Well, now you got me adding that one down too.
He just kept laughing and kept laughing. I said, I bet they don't say nothing about that, but they won't talk about Kamala laughing. But let me say this. She's more than qualified. She's been a senator. She's been in the position of vice president. Trump came straight from The Apprentice to the highest.
Well, wait a minute. Trump was only on The Apprentice because he was a successful businessman before that. I mean, Trump's been known to be a huge real estate mogul long before The Apprentice, right?
But has he ever been in politics?
No.
Okay, he said himself that he didn't even know what NATO was when he got in office.
That's bad. Yeah, he did say that. That's bad.
He was not qualified. So why they worried about if somebody else qualified and they put somebody in there that was not qualified?
I gotta agree with you. I gotta agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of things you're not gonna know as commander in chief. You can't know every damn thing, but not knowing who NATO is. When you come from there, you're born. When is he born? In the early 40s or late 30s?
And this is not something that I made up. I heard he said it. That he did not. He said I did not even know who NATO was, but it didn't take me that long to figure it out. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's exceptionally bad because you have to know that in school. Yeah, I don't know what NATO and the Warsaw Pact when that was around. Yeah, I don't know how he could have. Yeah, that's inexcusable. I'll just say that.
Because he wasn't paying attention to politics for politics. He was paying attention to politics to be messy.
Well, Jeremy in the comments, Takesha, has pushed the out of context button. So in other words, what you're saying about Trump, out of context.
Here we go. How was that taken out of context?
I can't even defend it, and I would try if I could.
I'm not finna entertain Jeremy. Everything Trump says is out of context. Everything Trump says is out of context. And let me say this. They were so up in arms about getting Biden's medical report or seeing about what the doctors say, but they don't have anything to say about the fact that no doctor has come out and told us anything about that ear that got cut by that podium glass because it didn't get shot by Trump.
That's bad, though. Like I told the previous caller, that the FBI is now making it sound like they don't even know what hit them. I mean, that makes them look incompetent as hell.
Let me tell you something, handsome. If your ear got scraped by AK-47,
scraped,
a piece of it gonna be gone.
Yeah.
And Trump ear is not gone, and he ain't got no miracle ear. So that means he was not scraped, nor grazed, nor anything else by AK-47.
Well, it was an AR-15 like weapon, but I do get your point. And
I wouldn't care if it was AR-12. He ain't supposed a chunk of his ear supposed to be gone while he's wearing that notepad on his ear. You know, it was a notepad to me. I'm sorry. It looked like a notepad.
As a terrible. The other guy said a maxi pad. You telling me he had a notepad?
It looked like a notepad.
Oh,
even listen, handsome. Even when you get a cut on your ear, they give you some stitches.
Yeah.
Eric said he had to have no stitches. You got grazed by a assault rifle type weapon, and you didn't even have to have stitches.
That is an interesting question. That is hard to
imagine. Like
imagine.
LC for sympathy and a talking point to sell them ugly shoes that they have come up with.
But them shoes might be a collector's item to keep.
The shoes so ugly, I wouldn't buy them if they was 10 cents and they was gonna worth me $1 million. They real ugly, handsome.
Do you have Trump derangement syndrome? Do you have Trump derangement syndrome, girl?
I just don't like him. It's not because I'm deranged. I just don't like him. Check this out. I don't have a problem with the way you run your show, but one thing I want you to do when somebody comes up and lies and said it, these people are giving children sex changes without the parents knowing. I want you to debunk that. Because what are they telling the parents? Hey, we're going to take them on a Christian camp for 2 weeks, and Jimmy going to come back as Jenny.
I did hear him say that. He was throwing a lot out there. I did hear him say that.
People need to stop making up lies. You can make your point without making up stuff that makes absolutely no sense to nobody but yourself.
But let me say this, though. A lot of folks on the right do believe that that's happening. Women are, even Ron DeSantis and Trump have stated that women are giving birth and taking the baby back to the hospital to have it aborted. They are saying that stuff.
Chill. That's murder.
Yeah.
That is murder all day. If you think that somebody gonna have a baby, go home and say, you know what, I don't even like the way you look. Get your ass in this car seat.
Yeah, they call it post.
Wait a minute, Tim. Get your ass in this car seat. We going back to this hospital and they gonna kill you. And I'm gonna try again, damn it. Come on, Tim.
They call it post-birth abortions. They do say that.
I don't even want your little ugly ass. Let's go. I'm finna take you back, and they gonna kill you, and I'm gonna try again.
Oh,
it doesn't matter that you were just born.
Yeah, they do call it.
See how stupid that sound?
Yeah, I mean, I know, but I mean, Ron DeSantis said it, and Trump, post-birth abortions. I mean, I think
that's how you know they don't know what they're talking about. They're making up stuff to keep people that really don't know and don't have common sense, to keep them up in arms and to keep them repeating it. Because I've heard people repeating, and I said, I wonder how they think they sound making that foolish accusation.
Yeah, the idea that a child could have a sex change without the parents.
Without the parent. Like I said, what they gonna tell them? They going to a Christian camp, and when they come back, Jerry gonna be Jenny.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I get it all the time.
Handsome, stop it.
I don't have an answer. You killing me, Smalls. I don't have an answer for it. I really don't.
I know you don't, and they don't either.
All right. I got to move it on to because you got my damn jaws hurting. I appreciate you, especially the miracle ear. Oh, my God. I got to go. I
got the best ear in the world. It grew back overnight. The miracle ear. I'm going to be selling it. I'm going to sell miracle ear oil. In case your ear gets chopped off, you can get this oil and get it to grow back too. Miracle ear.
You are wrong as fuck. I got to go. Oh, my Lord. Jesus Christ. Comedy Hour. Look, I don't believe in banning free speech. Now, I know a hell of a lot of my MAGA don't agree with what my last caller had to say. Some of it's comical. We get folks to say the same about the left, but she is entitled to her opinion. Certainly welcome on the program anytime. Takesha is a friend of the show. Wow, that was crazy, though. Look at his comments. Try staying in another country illegally. Let me know, says Sandra. It happens, Sandra. Every first world country on earth, including many second world countries and some developing countries, have issues with illegal immigration. Everybody wants to better themselves. America doesn't have a patent on dealing with illegal immigrants. The only difference is America has a 2,000-mile border, or whatever the distance of that border is. Well, we actually on both sides. Land borders, these very long land borders with other countries. But even China, you'd never think China has issues with North Koreans coming in their damn country. People want to better themselves. So folks always, well, if America wasn't that great, everybody wouldn't want to come here. That ain't something specific to America. Even Australia, which is out in the middle of no damn where, when I was there, they constantly were talking about issues with boats showing up, rafts from Papua New Guinea, one of the poor countries that is, a few hundred miles north when you got to cross the damn sea to get to Australia. Every first world country has immigration issues. That ain't unique to America. The only difference between America and those other countries is it is easier to get here. That's about the only difference. It's easier to get here. But every first world country and second world developing countries also have immigration problems. They all do. That's not unique. Looking in the comments, Harris sucks, says Daniel Tweedy. Not a fan of Kamala Harris. All right, let's debate what's most important first, foremost. The meat of the meal, USA safety, freedom, and posterity. Well, that's a good point, Mike Porter, but when you say let's debate what's most important first, every American is going to have something that's different that they consider to be most important than the next American. For instance, if you are a member of the LGBT community, that shit is important to you. Certainly more so than maybe somebody who is heterosexual, that they're not going to deal with it. Another perfect example, Trump talking about giving police in Democratic cities immunity. Well, if you live in rural Alabama, that doesn't matter to you. You're not worried about it if you live in rural, Montana somewhere. Him promising to give cops immunity is no big deal. So it's not important to you, but to the people that may be dealing with them cops every day, it is. So it's almost impossible, even though I agree with your statement, let's debate about the most important issues. It's impossible to do that because things are going to be different from person to person. Now, we would normally suggest that the economy is very important. Some people, as one of my callers, I think it was Furback, or one of my callers stated, can't think of the name, but he stated, I'm going to eat regardless. I'm going to be fine no matter what president is in. So for him, the economy may not be the biggest issue. Maybe something else. Every voter has something that is different in terms of what's more important than the next. We don't want to get to a point where we're telling the other voters what I believe is most important, and that's what you should focus on too. Such as, let's say under the Trump administration, why are you focusing on mean tweets and being emotional? That's not important. What's important is what I think is important, not the mean tweets. Maybe that person has been bullied all their damn lives, or they got, PTSD from that. You don't know. You can't tell somebody else what's important. Let them figure it out, and you figure out what means what to you. Anyhow, appreciate the 130,000+ likes. Yes, the president of the United States never has controlled my income or way of life. And that's the point. If the economy is not as big of an issue. By the way, because we were always told the economy was way better under Trump and Biden is destroying everything. I don't see Americans in many places struggling that bad. It's not like we had mansions under Trump and we're homeless under Biden. It's not that big of a difference for a lot of Americans. For some, maybe, but not for others. So it depends on where you're at, how you're doing, where you're at in life. Everybody is not going under the Biden administration like some people would suggest. Appreciate the 137,000. 1 p.m. Central is where you'll find us. It is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll catch you tonight. Thank you, folks, for the support on YouTube as well. Appreciate the subscriptions. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central, uncensored dialogue is what you'll find here. If that's what you favor, subscribe to the program. I'll